Apocalypse. In the first 7 days, I frantically stockpile 300 billion in supplies. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1: Revenge After Rebirth. Looking at the time on the phone in front of him, he found that it is September 8, 2658 in the Milky Way calendar, which means that he did not die, but was reborn and traveled to the 7th day before the end of the world. Big brother, what's wrong with you? Did you have a nightmare? Why are you sweating profusely? A beautiful teenage girl took a handkerchief and thoughtfully wiped the cold sweat off Xiao Fan's forehead. Xiao Fan, why did you suddenly fall asleep while eating? Xiao Fan turned around and realized the scene he was in now. He was having breakfast with his stepmother and younger sister at home. Soon long ago memories flooded into his mind. Xiao Fan looked at the beautiful girl and the extremely beautiful young woman in front of him again, couldn't help feeling disgusted. The anger and resentment in his heart couldn't be hidden no matter what. This damn woman married her father 15 years ago, and she has been planning to control the huge Xiao family property empire in her own hands. Before she married her father, she began to plan how to kill her father, and her beloved sister Xiao Lu actually has no blood relationship with Xiao Fan. What makes Xiao Fan even more heartbroken is that after the end of the world, Xiao Fan desperately hunted and killed the interstellar iron beetle to help a mother and daughter awaken their abilities. But when they awakened their abilities, she thought she finally had a strong ability to protect herself. Xiao Fan is no longer needed, and Li Dao, who is actually the real mastermind behind this arrangement, wants to kill Xiao Fan openly with Xiao Lu's biological father. Not only that, but also to humiliate him. When they thought that Xiao Fan had been poisoned and could no longer pose a threat to them, Xiao Fan's stepmother Wang Min told Xiao Fan the truth. The reason why she married Xiao Fan's father was Li Dao's idea. The purpose was to take away the huge property empire of the Xiao family. If it wasn't for the sudden arrival of the end of the world, they had already planned to do something to Xiao Fan, causing Xiao Fan to die unexpectedly, just like Xiao Fan's father died suddenly in a car accident. What makes Xiao Fan most unacceptable is that Wang Min, a stinky woman with a heart like a snake, wants her daughter Xiao Lu to stab herself to death with a knife. Xiao Fan will never forget the ugly face and words of the stinky woman at that time. She smiled viciously. Xiao Fan, let me tell you, your beloved sister Xiao Lu actually has nothing to do with you. She doesn't. The surname is Xiao and her surname is Li. In order to let you and her completely end your brother-sister relationship, I asked your most beloved sister to kill you with my own hands. It's a good arrangement. Ha ha ha. But after Li Lu knew that she had no blood relationship with Xiao Fan, she also showed an extremely ugly face, and she really took a knife and walked towards her step by step while Wang Min and Li Dao were watching, completely disregarding his love for her and brother-sister love for the past 10 years. He is completely as femme fatale as her parents. Fortunately, Xiao Fan was completely immune to poison after awakening his power. So after he got all the truth, he immediately wanted to kill their family of 3 snakes and scorpions, but the extremely cunning Li Dao even used his own woman and daughter to shield him from the knife, and he took the opportunity to escape, and it took him 50 years to escape. No matter how hard Xiao Fan searched, he never saw him again. This time Xiao Fan secretly made up his mind that since he was reborn, he must never let Li Dao live into the last days. Father's bloody revenge must be avenged no matter what. Xiao Fan, Mom just said something to you. Why do you look so resentful? If Wang Min was very dissatisfied, he immediately recalled Xiao Fan from his distant memory to reality. There was a cruel smile on the corner of Xiao Fan's mouth. He only has 7 days to prepare for the coming end times, so there is no extra second and the mother and daughter in front of him pretending to be false. He suddenly stretched out his right hand and grabbed Wang Minji's white neck, sneered, Wang Min, you stinky woman dares to call herself mother. Don't think I really don't know what you did. Wang Min felt that her breathing was about to stop. She wanted to struggle desperately but it was useless. Xiao Fan's hand was as strong as a pair of iron tongs. Li Lu was really stunned by the scene in front of her, and then shouted, Big brother, are you crazy? She is our mother. How can you treat her mother like this, so noisy? Xiao Fan slapped her backhand hard. Li Lu was sent flying by this slap, and she fell to the ground and lost consciousness. Xiao Fan stared coldly into Wang Min's eyes and asked, Tell me where Li Dao is right now? Tell me where he is and I can make your death easier. After speaking, he slightly loosened the hand pinching her neck. Wang Min got fresh air, immediately opened his mouth wide to breathe greedily, and began to cough violently. Xiao Fan scolded in disgust, "Shut up and answer my question right away, where's Li Dao?" Wang Min looked at Xiao Fan in horror. She really didn't understand how Xiao Fan was completely different after waking up after being absent-minded. He actually knew all the secrets hidden in the deepest part of his heart, and what was even more frightening was that his eyes were clearly formed after countless killings. It made her feel the biting chill and murderous aura, but Wang Min would never admit his crime so easily, but forcefully defended himself. "Xiao Fan, are you crazy? I am your mother, and Xiao Lu is your sister. How could you do this? Treat your mother and sister. Let me go. I'm going to see your sister's injuries. In case your sister is beaten up by you, your father will never let you go." Xiao Fan sneered and said, "At this point, you are still thinking of luck. I can say the name Li Dao, so I know what is the relationship between you and him. Li Lu is not my sister, she is you and Li Dao's daughter. If you continue to deceive me, my father will not let me go." This time Wang Min completely gave up. She never expected that Xiao Fan knew all of her secrets. It would be pointless to continue to argue at this time. Wang Min also regained his composure and said, "Xiao Fan, how do you know this? I have been very careful all along, and I have not revealed any flaws." Xiao Fan said coldly, "I don't have time to talk to you about such nonsense. Answer my question right away. Where's your dog man Li Dao? If you don't tell me, I will make you regret coming to this world once. Not only did I let you realize what life is better than death, but I also made your daughter live better than death with you." Chapter 2: Shameless Dogs and Men and Women. The Xiao family, which is as big as a manor, has no one to save her at the moment. Originally the Xiao family had many servants, but recently Wang Min and Li Dao are making a plan to get rid of Xiao Fan. In order not to let these servants get in the way, he found all kinds of excuses and fired them all. But now Xiao Fan has been achieved. No matter how much noise Xiao Fan makes at home, no one will know. Of course, no one will save their mother and daughter. Wang Min could only forcefully reply, "Xiao Fan, don't be too impulsive. We can discuss anything, as long as you let me and Xiao Lu off. I am willing to give up inheriting all the property of the Xiao family." Excitedly sneered and said, "You shameless ugly woman is really interesting. You have come to this point and still want to use my Xiao family's property to buy me off." As Xiao Fan pinched her neck a little harder, Wang Min immediately began to suffocate again. This time it was even more tragic. Her face immediately turned red, and the veins on her forehead burst out. Xiao Fan would not let her die so easily, so she quickly let go of her sinister smile and said, "If you don't answer my question again, I will let you do a multiple-choice question." Wang Min had a very bad premonition, and she asked in horror, "What multiple-choice question?" Xiao Fan said darkly, "Do you want me to touch your daughter in front of you, or let your daughter watch me touch you?" Wang Min shouted, "Xiao Fan, you can't do this. No matter what, you and Xiao Lu have been brother and sister for more than 10 years, and we have also been mother and son for more than 10 years. Xiao Fan didn't want to listen anymore, and slapped her hard on the face and said angrily, "You shameless woman, you still have the face to say these things now? You have really treated my father over the past 10 years. As a husband? Do you really treat me as your child? It's just a step-by-step implementation of your plan." Wang Min's face was swollen from the beating, and the corners of his mouth were bleeding continuously. She cried, "Just take it as I beg you, all the mistakes are my fault. If you want revenge, come to me, don't touch your sister." Xiao Fan sneered, "So you still care about your daughter? That's good. I'll let you watch, let you keep your eyes open and watch how I touch her." As Xiao Fan grabbed Wang Min's neck and walked towards Li Lu, Wang Min immediately shouted, "Xiao Fan, I beg you, please don't do this. I will tell you everything, everything." Xiao Fan stopped and looked at Wang Min, who cried and said, "Li Dao lives in Xiao's villa in the eastern suburbs." After Xiao Fan listened, she exerted a little force with her right hand, and with a click, Wang Min's neck broke. Then Xiao Fan walked towards Li Lu and sent her to find her mother without hesitation. He really didn't have any mercy towards this mother and daughter. When they wanted to kill him, they didn't hesitate at all. I never thought about the relationship between brother and sister and mother and child, never. Xiao Fan stuffed the bodies of their mother and daughter into the freezer and said disgustedly, "You think I will really touch your mother and daughter? Just looking at you is an insult to my eyes, let alone touch you." After speaking, Xiao Fan drove to his villa in the eastern suburbs. "This Li Dao is really disgusting, he even dares to live in his own home." This time I can't let him escape no matter what. He must realize what life is worse than death. Xiao Fan increased his speed to the fastest along the way, and arrived at his villa in the eastern suburbs in an hour, but he didn't go in directly. That would definitely scare the snake away, so he chose to park the car far away, and then climbed over the fence. He is still very clear about the monitoring system of this villa. The power grid above the fence is not actually powered on, and the location he browses happens to be a monitoring blind spot. After turning into the yard, Xiao Fan went to the back door of the villa. This was a fingerprint lock. Xiao Fan opened the door with his own fingerprint and entered the room. There was no one on the first floor. When you come to the second floor, you can immediately hear the sound of fierce fighting between men and women. The man said gruffly, "I said baby, don't worry, this villa will belong to me soon. If you really like this villa, I will raise you here." The young woman panted excitedly. "Godfather, is what you said true or false? You can't lie to others, right? If Godfather is willing to hide his beauty in a golden house, daughter, I am very willing to be Godfather's sweetheart. My daughter is just worried Dad lied to others." The man replied proudly, "As long as you serve me well, why should I lie to you? To tell you the truth, after a few days, I will have a lot of villas like this. Put you in this villa to face me, it's nothing at all. Do you think I need to lie to you?" The young woman shouted even more excitedly, "Godfather, don't worry, my daughter will definitely compare the happiness you serve to the gods." Xiao Fan was furious. Li Dao is a bastard. He said that he will soon have a lot of villas. He must mean to take all his villas under his name. Damn it, the young woman asked curiously. "Godfather, I really don't understand why this villa can't be given to me right away. Why do I have to wait for a while?" The man panted, "Because although the old turtle is dead, the little turtle is still alive. After a while, the little turtle is also dead. We will eat his meat, and this villa can be yours." Xiao Fan couldn't listen any longer, and kicked open the door of the room where they were working. The woman inside let out a scream with disheveled hair, and the middle-aged man jumped up hastily from the head of the bed. He took out a pistol and pointed it at Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan stared at the man and said coldly, "Li Dao, I will definitely let you die in my hands this time, and I will never let you escape again." Li Dao was puzzled. He knew Xiao Fan, but he couldn't understand what Xiao Fan said. This was the first time he met Xiao Fan. What does it mean that he can't run away again? What exactly do you mean? Of course Xiao Fan would not explain it to him. He continued, "With a gun in your hand, do you think you can deal with me?" Li Dao coldly threatened. "Xiao Fan, I don't know how you got here, but there is one thing I have to tell you. It is easy for me to kill you if I want to. Tell me what you did to Wang Min, is it? If you tell me, maybe I can make your death easier." Xiao Fan nonchalantly pointed at Li Dao's muzzle and walked towards Li Dao step by step, sarcastically saying, "If you want to shoot me, then shoot. Let me see if you can hit me." Chapter 3. Xiao Fan sneered, "I just told you to shoot." Boom. After a flash of light, the bullet hit Xiao Fan's chest. Xiao Fan was even faster than the bullet. With a dodge, he not only dodged the bullet fired by Li Dao, but also came in front of Li Dao, and he had already grabbed Li Dao with his right hand. The right hand holding the pistol, then Xiao Fan only exerted a little force, and there was a bone-cracking sound. Li Dao let out a scream like killing a pig, and the gun in his hand fell off to the ground. Xiao Fan sneered, "It's ridiculous that you want to shoot me with a gun." Li Dao's whole face was distorted from the pain, and his whole body was covered in white sweat. Xiao Fan sarcastically said, "I thought you were so amazing, but you turned out to be such a waste. I can't bear such a little pain, and you want to take all the property of my Xiao family. Are you worthy?" While talking, Xiao Fan picked up the pistol that fell on the bed, aimed at Li Dao's place of pleasure, and shot him. In an instant, the blood splashed, and he had no chance to enjoy himself anymore. Li Dao fainted immediately from the pain. The woman on the side was also frightened and fainted. Xiao Fan didn't want to stop there. It would be too cheap to kill Li Dao directly, so he took a basin of water and poured it on Li Dao's face. Li Dao woke up after a while. His face was completely pale as paper, and now he had at most half his life left, and he said weakly, "Xiao Fan, please, don't torture me anymore. Give me a good time." Xiao Fan sneered, "You want to die like this, but I don't want to. Why don't you guess where the next shot will hit you?" Li Dao shook his head and replied, "I can't guess it. Hit me on the head." Xiao Fan shook his head and said, "You guessed wrong. I'm going to hit your feet." Boom. After a gunshot, Li Dao's left foot was shot with a bloody hole. Li Dao fainted from the pain again, and Xiao Fan woke him up again, then started the same game mode, this time crippling his right foot, followed by his left and right hands. After the last 5 shots, Li Dao has no ability to play anymore, because he was played to death. Xiao Fan spat at his dead body. This bastard had plotted against his father for more than 10 years, not only killing his father, but also killing himself. Fortunately, the end of the world has come, otherwise Xiao Fan would surely die. Xiao Fan looked at the fainted young woman on the side. He didn't show any mercy, because as long as this woman is let go, this woman will definitely report him when she goes outside. That would seriously affect all his future plans, and he would no longer be able to prepare for the end of the world. Lin Kifin shot again, and then he dragged the 2 corpses to the basement. In the basement, even if they turned into bones, no one would find them. Lin Kifin left the villa, looked back for the last time and said silently in his heart, "Father, you can rest in peace this time. My son is unfilial, but he finally avenged you." Next, Xiao Fan will start his crazy stockpiling plan, because the apocalypse will come in 7 days, and the whole planet will become a breeding base for interstellar iron beetles. Become the nourishment of iron beetle eggs, and in the last days, if you want to survive and fight your way out, the most important prerequisite is to have a very sufficient material guarantee. Without sufficient supplies as a backing, everything is empty talk. In the end, I still have to die. Xiao Fan has been fighting in the last days for 50 years. Although he has awakened supernatural powers, he can keep his body from aging for a long time, but in the end he had to be reborn due to lack of supplies. This time, we must not let the materials become an obstacle restricting our battle. His Xiao family is a very large asset empire. Its business fields include real estate, funds, securities, internet, entertainment, games, automobiles and more than 20 fields. With assets reaching 300 billion, he must convert all the assets of the Xiao family into necessities for life as much as possible within these 3 days. These materials will not only support him, but also support him to form a powerful force, and he will no longer be alone. Xiao Fan drove to Xiao's headquarters, Tenglong building. Xiao Fan parked the car, took the elevator to the top floor, and just stepped out of the elevator. A beautiful young elite female white-collar worker ran up to him and said respectfully, "Mr. Xiao, something happened to the entertainment company. Now they collectively propose to resign the brokerage contract with the company. It's a mess." Xiao Fan replied impatiently, "If they want to make trouble, let them do it. You should immediately issue a notice to call all executives from all business areas of the group to the big conference room for a meeting in an hour. Those who are not on the city will use video to participate in the meeting. No one is allowed to be absent. I have something very important to announce." The female secretary, Xiao Yun, was taken aback and hurriedly asked again, "Mr. Xiao, a meeting will be held in an hour. I'm afraid many executives will not be able to make it." Xiao Fan said impatiently, "If I ask you to notify you, I will notify you. If you can't participate, you can participate in the conference via video. Don't you understand?" Xiao Yun hurriedly nodded and went to do it, but couldn't help muttering in her heart, "I mean, 1 hour is too little. If we can give 2 hours, half of the people may arrive." Xiao Fan walked to his office and took a deep breath. He really misses her. The whole office was arranged by his father and has never been changed, but my supernatural space can't store real estate. Otherwise I really want to take this office and keep it as a permanent memory, because after 7 days, this office might also be corroded into bean curds by the corrosive liquid sprayed out by the interstellar iron beetle. At this time, there was a knock on the door of the office, and Xiao Fan said calmly, "Come in." A beautiful and mature lady with short hair came in, and said with a charming smile, "Mr. Xiao, our finance department is going to start paying a batch of contract prices in accordance with the regulations, and we need your signature." Hu Miao, the financial director, came in. Xiao Fan looked at Hu Miao and said, "Stop paying all contract prices immediately, and immediately receive all the cash from each subsidiary to the group account. Don't ask why, just find it right away. There will be a group executive meeting in a while, and I will explain everything at the convention." But Hu Miao said stubbornly, "President Xiao, it is very inappropriate for you to do this. It will lead to a large number of breaches of contract, we will face a lot of lawsuits, and it will have a great negative impact on the reputation of our group." Quotation mark. Chapter 4 Crazy Hoarding Strategy. Hu Miao felt as if she was being stared at by a giant beast. She didn't dare to look directly into Xiao Fan's eyes anymore, She immediately looked down and nodded and replied, "I understand, Mr. Xiao." Xiao Fan let go of her, and waved her away from his office. Now every minute and every second is extremely precious to him. Originally, he didn't plan to give it an hour, but after all, he needs to prepare before the meeting, otherwise he will ask for the meeting to be held immediately. No one is allowed to question his decision, because any doubt represents the loss of precious time. Xiao Fan sat on his office chair, closed his eyes slightly. He was too tired and needed to take a rest. About half an hour later, there was a knock on the office door. Secretary Xiao Yun came in and said, "Mr. Xiao, all the notices for the meeting have been issued. But less than 1/5 of the people who can attend the meeting are present, and the rest of the executives can only adopt the mode of video conference. There are still 15 minutes before the meeting will begin." Xiao Fan nodded and said, "I'm too tired, come and give me a shoulder squeeze." Xiao Yun was taken aback. She has been Xiao Fan's secretary for 3 years. This is the first time Xiao Fan has made such a request. She felt extremely happy, hurriedly came behind Xiao Fan and began to help him relax by squeezing his shoulders. Xiao Fan said, "Xiao Yun, the meeting to be held later is very important to me. You must cooperate with me well, no matter what happens at the meeting. Don't ask why. Can you do that?" Xiao Yun nodded and replied, "I will definitely do what Mr. Xiao said." Xiao Fan said again, "Use a little force." Xiao Yun stepped up again. Xiao Fan closed his eyes enjoying it, and 15 minutes later he brought Xiao Yun to the big meeting room. There are already a dozen executives sitting in the meeting room, and the remaining dozens of executives all participate in the meeting via video. Xiao Fan said, "This time I am notifying everyone to hold this urgent meeting because I have very important things to announce. Of course, this is also related to each of you." All the executives looked at Xiao Fan very puzzled, wondering what major event he was going to announce. Xiao Fan looked at Hu Miao's position and asked, "Director Hu, how much cash do we have in the group account plus the accounts of each subsidiary?" Hu Miao replied very professionally, "According to my statistics just now, we now have a total of 6.9 billion working capital." Xiao Fan nodded and said, "I plan to use all the 6.9 billion cash as your bonus." Wow! The moment Xiao Fan uttered this sentence, it was extremely quiet, and then an uproar erupted. It's like a boiling oil pan being poured into a bowl of ice water. Those executives were completely shocked. Mr. Xiao didn't suddenly go crazy. Xiao Yun looked at Xiao Fan in disbelief. She felt that something was wrong with Xiao Fan just now, and now she felt that her feeling had been verified. There was indeed something wrong with this guy, but thinking of her previous promise, she didn't say anything. Hu Miao suddenly stood up excitedly and said, "Mr. Xiao, are you crazy? Do you know what you are talking about? You will let us breach a large number of contracts that are in good progress, and take these should have been paid. The contract's money that goes out is used as a bonus. Do you know what the consequences will be? Our entire group will collapse." Xiao Fan looked at Hu Miao coldly and said, "You didn't hear a single word I said to you in my office, so now I can only inform you with great regret that you have been fired." Hu Miao froze in place. She felt that she was extremely wronged. Her eyes filled with tears instantly, and then rushed out of the meeting room. Xiao Fan ignored it at all, and continued, "Now let's continue the meeting. Although I just announced a huge amount of bonuses, these bonuses are not easy for you to get. I want you to use your brains to make it possible. In the shortest possible time, all the assets of our entire group will be exchanged for various necessities of life, including food, clothing, housing and transportation." Hearing Xiao Fan's words, all the executives at the scene immediately fell silent again, and couldn't help but think that Xiao Fan was really crazy. But this is great news for me. Since he is willing to exchange such high-quality assets for some necessities of life, then I can satisfy him. What's more, this is a very easy transaction to facilitate. I just don't know how rich the reward will be, so I must listen carefully next time. Xiao Fan continued, "If you can facilitate a transaction within 1 day, you can get a reward of 5% of the transaction amount, and if you can complete a transaction within 2 days, you can get a reward of 3% of the transaction amount. 2%, after 3 days, you will get a reward of 1% of the transaction amount." All the executives present couldn't believe their ears, and even some executives who participated in the video recall accidentally dropped their mobile phones on the ground. A simple calculation shows how rich this reward is. If the transaction amount is 100 million, you can get 5 million rewards. 1 billion is 50 million rewards. and 10 billion can get 500 million rewards, and the entire Xiao family's assets are very high quality, and they will be scrambled for in the market, so this transaction is too easy to facilitate. It is simply free money. Every executive was instantly ignited to fight, and all of them were thinking about one question at the moment, that is how to get a higher bonus for themselves. Xiao Fan said with a smile, "Time is urgent, so I won't delay your time to get the bonus. I hope you can all make a deal today, and you can all get the highest reward of 5%. The meeting is adjourned." As soon as Xiao Fan's voice fell, all the executives present couldn't wait to say hello and rushed out, while the online video conference executives went offline one after another, and they couldn't wait to find trading opportunities. Xiao Fan can only use this method to hoard supplies now, because the time is really too tight. If you follow the normal method to realize your assets and then purchase them, let alone 7 days or 1 month, the realization may not be completed. What extraordinary measures must be taken in extraordinary times? Xiao Yun stared blankly at Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan turned to look at Xiao Yun with a smile and said, "Don't be dazed, you also have a chance to win a high reward. Don't you want to go out and have a try?" Chapter 5 Hoarding Doomsday Partners. Xiao Fan knocked off her hand and said, "What's wrong with you?" Xiao Yun asked back, "Mr. Xiao, are you confused?" Xiao Fan laughed and said, "I'm normal and know what I'm doing." "You're really not tempted by such a generous reward? Don't think about making a fortune anyway? Maybe you can become a billionaire." Xiao Yun shook her head and replied, "I grew up with my grandpa. My grandpa taught me from a young age that I should never earn money that I shouldn't earn. A person's life is only a few decades. The most important thing is to have peace of mind." Xiao Fan asked with a smile, "This is my reward for you, how can it be considered money that shouldn't be earned?" Xiao Yun said seriously, "I think Mr. Xiao is very abnormal now, and the decisions he made are also abnormal, so this money should not be earned." Xiao Fan got up and patted her on the shoulder and said, "It's rare for a girl with a bottom line like you to do this. Don't worry, if you don't earn this money, I will definitely let you earn more." Xiao Yun looked at Xiao Fan inexplicably, wondering why he said such a thing. Xiao Fan said with a smile, "Director who must have been greatly wronged just now, let's go meet her together." Xiao Yun's surprised mouth turned into an O shape. Xiao Fan's style of doing things made her more and more confused. Hu Miao was obviously dismissed by him himself, so why did he say that she had suffered a great grievance in a blink of an eye, and it seemed that he wanted to comfort her. The more people looked at it, the more they didn't understand, and the more they looked at it, the more confused they became. I don't know what kind of medicine is sold in Xiao Fan's gourd, but Xiao Fan's idea is very simple. This time he is reborn. Not only must he seize all the time to hoard the supplies he needs in the apocalypse, we must also try our best to find some reliable partners in the last days, who can be trusted back to back. If you want to be his partner, the first thing is to not only have interests in your eyes, but also have your own bottom line. Both Hu Miao and Xiao Yun have shown their insistence on the bottom line, which will become the basis for Xiao Fan to trust them in the last days. Xiao Fan fired Hu Miao because he didn't want her to become a stumbling block to his crazy stockpiling, but this did not affect Xiao Fan's absorption of her as his partner, and those very greedy executives will soon find that no matter how much bonus they get, it will become worthless waste paper. The most precious thing in the last days is the basic materials necessary for survival, not money, and these people will also lose the possibility of becoming Xiao Fan's partners because of their greed. As long as someone dissuades Xiao Fan in the meeting just now, Xiao Fan can cooperate with them to survive the apocalypse. It's a pity that no one dissuades Xiao Fan except Hu Miao and Xiao Yun. They only see huge benefits in their eyes, and they don't have any bottom line persistence. None of these people are worthy of being Xiao Fan's partners, because when faced with the temptation of interests, such people often become the earliest betrayers. Seeing Xiao Yun with a puzzled and shocked expression, Xiao Fan smiled and left directly. It took Xiao Yun a long time to react, and hurriedly chased after her. Arriving outside Hu Miao's office, Xiao Fan knocked on the door and pushed the door open, and saw Hu Miao crying on his office desk. Xiao Fan came to her and said with a smile, "If I were you, I wouldn't hide in the office and cry, but hurry up to earn bonuses like everyone else." Hu Miao looked up at Xiao Fan and said angrily, "It's not enough for you to fire me, and you're still chasing me here to taunt me." Xiao Fan stretched out his hand and raised her chin again, then stretched out the other hand to help her wipe away her tears and said seriously, "I did fire you, but only from your position in the company. Now I decide to hire you again as my personal assistant. You can give me any salary you want, how about it? Hu Miao broke free from his hand and said coldly, you should give up your heart, even if I starve to death, I will not cooperate with you, a crazy person. Xiao Yun at the side actually felt that what Hu Miao said made sense. Xiao Fan was not angry but said with a smile, check carefully to see if I am crazy? Stay with me for a few days, at most 7 days, and you will understand why I do this. Hu Miao stared into Xiao Fan's eyes for a long time before saying, 7 days may be short for you, but it is enough to destroy the entire group company. Xiao Fan shook his head seriously and replied, in 7 days, the old Xiao group will be destroyed, but a new group will rise up. As long as you are willing to accept my offer, then you and Xiao Yun will be the founder of the new group. There are only 7 days, why not give it a try? Xiao Yun asked in surprise. Mr. Xiao, I will also be the new founder. Xiao Fan nodded and replied, after 7 days, both you and Hu Miao will be given priority in the supply of various resources. Xiao Yun shook her head helplessly. Just now she felt that Xiao Fan had returned to normal, but then said such inexplicable words again. It really made people feel helpless. Hu Miao said, if you are still continuing your farce after 7 days have passed, you must stop immediately and work hard to get the Xiao group back on track. Only if you agree to my request, can I agree to accept it, your offer? Xiao Fan asked in surprise. Hu Miao, why do I always feel that your care and affection for the Xiao group is far beyond the scope of a normal executive? Can you tell me the reason? Hu Miao asked back, do you really want to know? Xiao Fan nodded and replied, of course I want to know. Hu Miao replied, because your father was kind to me during his lifetime, I was supported by his scholarship throughout college. And after I graduated, your father took the initiative to invite me to work in the Xiao group. It can be said that every step of my growth is inseparable from your father's support, you understand. Everything I do is just not wanting to see your father's hard work, that is, my benefactor's hard work being ruined by you. Xiao Fan nodded, thinking in his heart that he really met a treasure this time, but he didn't expect that Hu Miao would be a person who would reciprocate his kindness. At least he could be classified as the most high-quality partner. Hu Miao asked, I told you everything you want to know, but you haven't answered my question yet. Xiao Fan said seriously, I agree to your request. If I can't let you see a brand new Xiao group after 7 days, I will do as you said without any discount. Xiao Yun also said, Mr. Xiao, can I also make a condition? Chapter 6 The entertainment industry is exchanged for 2 major pasture cattle and sheep. When Xiao Yun saw Xiao Fan's eyes, she didn't know why she didn't dare to look straight in the eyes. She hastily lowered her head and said timidly, my condition is actually very simple, that is, I want your private employment. Xiao Fan smiled and said, okay, I'll hire you privately now. Xiao Yun stuck out her tongue secretly. The woman's small thoughts were satisfied, she couldn't hide her joy. Xiao Fan looked at the 2 of them and said seriously, I need the strong help of the 2 of you now, and various deals should be concluded soon. I want you to be responsible for the signing and execution of these deals, and I will specially authorize you, but you also have to remember, the only requirement is to let the transaction party deliver the materials I need to our group's warehouse in the suburbs as soon as possible. Xiao Yu nodded obediently. Hu Miao asked, how can we be in such a hurry? Don't we check the details of various contracts seriously? Xiao Fan shook his head. This woman can't turn her head, it will seriously delay the time. Time is much more important than money. It seems that I have to help her turn the corner. Xiao Fan looked at Xiao Yun and said, Xiao Yun, go out first. Hu Miao and I will discuss the details of the contract alone. Xiao Yun nodded obediently and left, not forgetting to close the door behind her. Xiao Fan raised Hu Miao's chin again and said, it's good that you have your own opinions, but within 7 days, I want you to give up all your opinions and carry out my orders completely and unconditionally. Can it be done? Hu Miao argued, I can't just sit back and watch the Xiao Group's interests suffer a major loss, and just ignore it. Xiao Fan replied earnestly, I assure you, only by transporting the supplies I need to the place I designate as soon as possible is the best way to protect the interests of the Xiao Group. Hu Miao continued to speak, but she was blocked just as she opened her mouth. Of course Xiao Fan's mouth was blocked. Hu Miao almost had difficulty breathing. Xiao Fan let go of her, giving her a chance to breathe freely again. Xiao Fan asked, do you understand what I mean now? Listen to me like a woman listens to her husband, you know. Hu Miao nodded in confusion. Xiao Fan patted her cheek and said, this is an obedient and good woman. The time is really too tight now, otherwise I want to kill you now. You don't know how long I haven't seen a woman, Hu Miao asked blankly. What are you talking about? Don't we meet every day? Xiao Fan said with a smile. After 7 days, you will understand what I mean. Don't ask me anything now. Remember your other identity, you are not only my personal assistant, but also my woman. Hu Miao nodded shyly. In fact, she has always had a crush on the handsome and uninhibited Xiao Fan, otherwise how could she let him lift his chin casually? And Xiao Fan's purpose in doing this is very simple. He needs this woman to be her assistant, but this woman has her own opinions too much. There is only one way to make her give up her own opinions, and that is to let her fall in love. A woman who falls in love will have a hot head, not always ask why, and will only do what a man tells her to do. In fact, because of the intimate behavior just now, Lin Kiffin's heart was already on fire. He had just been reborn, and before he came back, he had been fighting the iron beetle all the time. And he hadn't met a woman for a long time. He really wanted to punish Hu Miao on the spot, but he still held back. But it won't waste much time to gag again. Once again, Hu Miao felt that she was having difficulty breathing, so she tried her best to push Xiao Fan, but she couldn't push her away. At this moment, Xiao Fan's cell phone rang. Xiao Fan let go of Hu Miao in disappointment, took out his cell phone and answered the call. Hello, Mr. Tan, Mr. Xiao, I want to ask you to confirm something urgently. Mr. Xiao, do you want to sell all the properties under your name and plan to exchange them for various necessities of life? There is indeed such a thing. It is absolutely true. Is Mr. Tan interested in it? If it's true, I thought I heard a joke. I'm very interested in the entertainment industry of the Xiao Group, and Mr. Xiao also knows that I run a large ranch, which raises tens of thousands of beef cattle and dozens of thousands of sheep. I have been wanting to transform recently, but there are no good investment directions. Mr. Xiao is just in time. I trade my ranch for your entertainment industry. How about it, Mr. Tan? Your proposal is very good, I agree. But it's a bit unreasonable for you to exchange my entire entertainment industry with only such a little thing worth less than 1 billion yuan. Haha. Don't get me wrong, Mr. Xiao. It's really not kind of me to exchange the entertainment industry with Mr. Xiao for the things of this ranch, but there is a large ranch next to my ranch, and his cattle and sheep are more than my ranch. 3 times as much. Our two families will exchange with Mr. Xiao. What does Mr. Xiao think? Deal. I will hand over the specific signing of the contract to Hu Miao. You can contact her later. But I know that Mr. Tan's ranch has a special slaughtering workshop, and now I want Mr. Tan to send all the cattle, all the sheep are slaughtered, and then they are shipped to my warehouse immediately after the slaughter. Mr. Xiao, is this a bit too anxious? The contract between us has not been signed yet. I will start slaughtering cattle and sheep now. If something happens by then, I will lose a lot. If Mr. Tan is worried, he can send someone to sign the contract now, but the slaughter and transportation of cattle and sheep cannot be delayed for a single minute, otherwise I might change my mind if I meet a better trading partner. Don't, I believe Mr. Xiao is not good enough? I will do what Mr. Xiao said. Don't worry, there will be no delay in the slaughter and transportation of all cattle and sheep. The earliest batch will be delivered tomorrow night. It should arrive at the warehouse of your Xiao Group. That's the best way, Mr. Tan. I wish us a happy cooperation, Mr. Xiao. I will send someone to sign the contract right now. In addition, when I need to remind Mr. Xiao, the intermediary who told me this news is Xiao Fan, the person in charge of the entertainment industry of your Xiao Group. After finishing the call, Xiao Fan was still a little excited. He didn't expect the first batch of stockpiling to be completed like this. Xiao Fan looked at Hu Miao and ordered, pay Xiao Feng a bonus based on 5% of the value of the cattle and sheep I mentioned on the phone with Mr. Tan just now. Xiao Fan is taking money to further stimulate everyone's enthusiasm and buy time for himself to stock up. Chapter 7. The American enemy comes to make a deal. But Hu Miao nodded obediently this time. She just reached an agreement with Xiao Fan. At least she will not violate the agreement within 7 days. Xiao Fan called Qiao Yun in again, and specifically instructed the two of them, remember, no matter how exorbitant the terms of the contract offered by the other party are, you should not dwell on it. The only thing you need to pay attention to is that once the agreement is reached, you must immediately deliver to our warehouse. People who can't do that don't deserve to sign with us, understand? Both Hu Miao and Qiao Yun nodded in agreement. At this time, Xiao Fan's phone rang, and he took out his phone to check the caller ID. Little baby, Xiao Fan just frowned. It seems that this woman has an unusual relationship with him, but it has been so long that he can't remember who it is. But I had just personally convinced Hu Miao, so naturally I couldn't be ambiguous with other women in front of her, so Xiao Fan said, remember, do everything as I say. I have other things to deal with. Xiao Fan hurriedly left Hu Miao's office and answered the call. Husband, what are you doing? They don't contact you, and you don't contact them. They call you, but you don't answer for so long. Have you forgotten me? Listening to the feminine and charming voice, Xiao Fan knew that this woman must be a wonderful person, but it's been so long that she really can't remember who it is. But Xiao Fan still has a lot of experience in dealing with women, so he said, honey, where are you? I'm busy right now, really too busy. Why don't you come to the office to find me? I'm also in the company, but I just heard the latest news that you are going to transfer all the film and television industry, and it's for cattle and sheep. My dear, what are you thinking? Have you sold me? Is it only worth a few cattle and sheep in your eyes? Xiao Fan finally remembered who the woman he was talking to was Yang Can, a popular female artist in the film and television company under his group, known as the top 4 actresses, and she has already become her secret lover. Xiao Fan completely forgot about this matter when he was reborn, so he said with a smile, you come to my office to find me, and I will explain this matter to you face to face. Yang Can asked unexpectedly, honey, why do I feel that you are completely different from before? Didn't you tell me before that our relationship must be kept secret and no one should know? We try not to meet in public, no contact? Why let me go to your office now? Xiao Fan laughed. That was before, I changed my mind now. Why don't you want to come? Yang Kanjiao smiled and said, then you just wait, honey, why should I care if you don't care? Xiao Fan was tricked by Wang Min's family before, and he was fighting alone in the last days. He knew how difficult it was to survive, but it wasn't the most difficult. The most difficult thing is the endless loneliness. This time he wants to live a wonderful life in the apocalypse, and he will never be lonely like last time. Also find more partners for yourself, so he directly asked Yang Can to come to his office. He wanted to have a good talk with this hooligan about saving her, and let her become one of his companions in the last days. While Xiao Fan was waiting for Yang Can, there was a knock on the door of his office. Xiao Fan called in, and couldn't help being surprised. How did Yang Can come so fast? But the person who came and made Xiao Fan's whole body tense. If he hadn't realized that he was reborn, he would have rushed to duel with the person who came. If he was not on the end of the world now, what came in was a mature woman full of charm, with a perfect figure and delicate and flawless jade-like cheeks. It can be said that no man can resist the charm of such a woman, but this woman has been Xiao Fan's nightmare for more than 20 years in the last days. Her name is Yu Wenli, and she has successfully awakened her supernatural ability in the last days, and it is an extremely powerful supernatural ability, which can obtain the defensive attributes of the interstellar iron beetle during battle. Just like wearing an invulnerable armor all over her body, it was simply a nightmare for the opponent. No means of attack could hurt her at all, but her counterattack was extremely fierce. It was simply a perfect combination of defense and attack, just because Xiao Fan accidentally saw her taking a bath. This woman would start fighting whenever she saw Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan suddenly raised the corner of his mouth slightly, revealing a smirk. He came back and possessed supernatural powers, and this woman has not experienced the apocalypse. She is still an ordinary woman. Let's see how I deal with her this time. Be sure to tidy up her docilely and let her recognize herself as the master. Yu Wenli only saw the rapid changes in the expression on Xiao Fan's face, but she didn't know that Xiao Fan's heart changed so drastically in a short period of time, and she even made an evil plan against herself. If she knew Xiao Fan's true thoughts now, she would definitely go berserk. Yu Wenli took the lead and said, Mr. Xiao, I'm really sorry. I took the liberty to come to visit this time. I hope I didn't disturb you. Let me introduce myself first. I am Yu Wenli, the General Manager of Future Love Ecological Technology Company. My company is in the office building opposite. So I didn't communicate with Mr. Xiao on the phone beforehand. I think this way we both can save time. Mr. Xiao probably won't mind. Xiao Fan understood the reason for this woman's visit. It turned out that she was his neighbor, and she had been chasing her for so long in the last days without knowing this relationship. Xiao Fan came to her with a smile and stretched out his right hand and said, Mr. Yu, it's a pleasure to meet you. Of course I don't mind. This will really save us both time. Yu Wenli looked at Xiao Fan's hand stretched out in front of her and smiled slightly. and stretched out her own jade hand to gently hold Xiao Fan's big hand. She intended to give her a light shake in accordance with business etiquette, but Xiao Fan did not let go of her hand. Xiao Fan thought proudly, "You stinky woman has hunted me down for more than 20 years in the last days, just because I accidentally glanced at you taking a shower. Now I am holding your hand openly to see how you are." Thinking of evil things in his heart, he secretly enjoyed the pleasure of revenge that only he knew, but he said, "I don't know how Mr. Yu plans to trade with me. Which industry field of my Xiao family is he interested in? As long as Mr. Yu said it, I will definitely meet Mr. Yu's request, and I will never refuse." Yu Wenli glanced at the hands held together and reminded, "Mr. Xiao, I think our handshake is over. Can you let go of my hand?" If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8: Stunning Beauty by Stocking Up on Food. But I thought badly in my heart that it was intentional to let you chase and kill Louds. But the good show hasn't started yet. Just wait for me. Yu Wenli saw that Xiao Fan said that she had forgotten, but she didn't let go of her hand. She could only pull out her hand and said, "Mr. Xiao, I just received a call from Liao Kai, the investment director of your group. I know Mr. Xiao's idea of exchanging property for materials, but I'm not sure if it's true. So I'll take the liberty of asking here in person." Xiao Fan asked Yu Wenli to sit down with a smile and said, "It's absolutely true news. Mr. Yu doesn't have to doubt it. I just don't know if Mr. Yu has any good suggestions." Yu Wenli smiled and said, "My company is actually planting agriculture, especially wheat and soybeans, with a huge output and a lot of inventory. If Mr. Xiao is interested, we can cooperate with each other. I am very interested in the real estate development projects of the Xiao Group. They are all very good real estate projects, and I also know that I don't have the strength to swallow all the real estate projects of the Xiao Group, but I want to get a certain amount of equity." Xiao Fan nodded and replied, "I don't have any questions, I just wonder how much wheat and soybeans Mr. Yu has." Yu Wenli replied, "Our company's current inventory is about 30,000 tons of wheat, 10,000 tons of soybeans, and a total of 8,000 tons of other miscellaneous grains." Xiao Fan was overjoyed. He brought these grains into the end of the world and stored them in his own supernatural space. He could keep them in the same state as they were when they were placed in the supernatural space, which is enough to last for hundreds of years without any problem. He was very happy in his heart, but he said on his mouth, "Mr. Yu, the figures you reported sound a lot, but compared to the real estate industry of my Xiao Group, it is still too small. Even if I give Mr. Yu some shares, Mr. Yu will also take some shares. If you don't get much, you won't get a controlling stake in the real estate company at all." Yu Wenli thought for a while and asked, "Then Mr. Xiao, based on the amount of supplies I reported, how much equity in the real estate company can I get?" Xiao Fan pretended to be inscrutable, but he thought in his heart that this was a big piece of fat that you brought to the door on his own initiative, and I wanted to think about how to eat you. I want your food, and I will not let you off, just because I accidentally glanced at you taking a shower. You have been chasing me for such a long time. Think about it, I'm at a loss, this time, no matter what, I can't let you go easily. I want to get back all the interest and principal that I have been chasing and killing me for so long this time." Xiao Fan thought of this and said, "Mr. Yu, it's almost noon, let's go to a restaurant and have a chat together. There are a lot of details here, and we need to discuss it carefully, and try to keep it in the process of eating. All the details have been negotiated. I wonder if Mr. Yu has time." Yu Wenli nodded and said, "Then I will treat you, and I will treat it as compensation for disturbing Mr. Xiao this time. I know there is a restaurant with a particularly good flavor, and I will take it with me now." Xiao Fan nodded, and suddenly thought of Yang Kan again, so he said, "Mr. Yu, wait a moment, I need to make a call to make arrangements." Yu Wenli nodded tactfully and left Xiao Fan's office. Helping to close the door, Xiao Fan dialed Yang Kan's cell phone and said, "Baby, I suddenly have some urgent matters to deal with. You don't need to come to my office, go directly to my house at night." Thinking of Wang Min's mother and daughter in the freezer at home, Xiao Fan added, "Go to Zishan Villa." "Got it, honey, I know you're a busy person, so I'll be waiting for you at Zishan Villa. You can't forget me, don't change your mind." Xiao Fan hastily agreed, Ended the call with Yang Can. Xiao Fan walked out of her office, and left her office with Yu Wenli. Xiao Fan asked Yu Wenli to take her own car, and Yu Wenli led the way down to a high-end manor-style restaurant, Mingayu Huayun. After parking the car, I asked for a private room, and soon Yu Wenli ordered the food. Then Yu Wenli introduced, the dishes in this restaurant are not only very distinctive, but also every dish is a high-quality product. I guarantee that Mr. Xiao will eat it once, and I think I will come back next time. When Xiao Fan heard Yu Wenli's introduction, he couldn't help but his eyes lit up. He could use his power space to store a large amount of freshly made cooked food. The biggest feature of your own ability space is that no matter what you put in, it can maintain the state when you put it in at the beginning. No matter how long it takes to take it out in the future, it will still be steaming hot when it was just put in. Seeing Xiao Fan distracted, Yu Wenli didn't bother her, but took a sip from the teacup in front of her very elegantly. Xiao Fan made up his mind to press the call on the side of the dining table, and a beautiful waiter quickly knocked on the door and came in and asked, "Sir, miss, what's your order?" Xiao Fan asked, "How many meals does your restaurant make a day?" The waitress said proudly, "Our restaurant can serve 3,000 customers a day. The scale is pretty good." Xiao Fan laughed and said, "From tomorrow onwards, your restaurant will no longer have to accept other customers. I will pay for all the breakfast, lunch and dinner you make." The waitress was completely stunned. Her mouth was wide open, and a goose egg could be stuffed inside. Yu Wenli on the side was dumbfounded. Is this Xiao Fan really crazy? What do you do with so much food for him alone? Even if he has the strength to make a purchase, how should he store it? The waitress finally came back to her senses and asked, "Sir, are you kidding? Do you know how big that is? Can you eat it all by yourself? Even your whole family can't eat so much." Xiao Fan said very seriously, "I'm not joking with you, and I can pay for the meal first. Remember, what I pay is not a deposit, but the entire meal. You don't have to worry about any losses you will suffer." The waitress replied a little excitedly, "Since Mr. is not joking, then I will call our boss over. I really can't make the decision." Xiao Fan nodded. The waitress hurriedly left to call her boss. Yu Wenli asked very curiously, "Mr. Xiao, can you tell me what your idea is?" "You need to store supplies and food. It is easier for me to understand the stockpiling of supplies. After all, supplies can be stored for a long time. But this meals really cannot be stored for a long time. They will go bad." Yu Wenli knew that it might be impolite for her to ask like this, but her curiosity was completely overwhelmed, and she couldn't bear it any longer and asked out. Chapter 9: The Curiosity of a Beautiful Xia. Yu Wenli nodded desperately. Xiao Fan said with a smirk, "This is my biggest secret, not everyone can know it. If Mr. Yu really wants to know, he has to pay a certain price." Looking at the expression on Xiao Fan's face, Yu Wenli knew that this guy might be plotting her own bad idea, so she hurriedly said, "If it's not convenient for Mr. Xiao to say it, then forget it, just pretend that I didn't ask anything." Xiao Fan still smiled badly and said, "Mr. Yu, the answer you want to know is related to a big secret, and it may save your life. But you don't want to pay any price to get the answer. There is no such thing in the world. Such a cheap thing. So I won't just tell Mr. Yu like that." Yu Wenli stared at Xiao Fan's eyes, trying to see Xiao Fan through, but she found that the more she looked at this man, the more she realized that his eyes were terrifyingly deep. She hurriedly turned her face away, pretended to drink water and smiled. "I don't know what the price Mr. Xiao said is. I'm just curious, and I don't have to know it." Xiao Fan smiled and said nothing. Xiao Fan knows a lot about women. If she asks you, just say it, and she will soon lose interest in you. If you want to hook her, you must maintain enough mystery to her, that is to fully arouse her curiosity about you. When you should not pet her, you should not pet her. Instead, driven by her curiosity, she wants to explore you more and more, then she'll be hooked. Sure enough, seeing that Xiao Fan didn't speak, Yu Wenli continued to ask, "Mr. Xiao, why isn't he even willing to tell me what price I have to pay?" Xiao Fan laughed and said, "It's not that I don't want to say it, it's just that President Yu won't agree to me if I say it, so why waste my tongue? It's playing hard to get again. Although the routine is very old-fashioned, the older the routine, the more effective it is for arousing women's curiosity." Just as Yu Wenli was about to continue speaking, the person in the private room was rang again, and then a very beautiful professional young woman in a small suit walked into the private room, followed by the waitress just now. The waitress hurriedly introduced, "Manager Tan, This is the gentleman who said that he would take all the meals in our restaurant and pay for them first. Xiao Fan nodded and said, "That's right, that's true. And I will pay the full amount first, the full amount for the next 6 days." Manager 10 was also shocked by Xiao Fan's words, and she couldn't help asking, "Sir, are you kidding? No matter how much we make, are you willing to pay the full amount in advance?" This sentence is a very good question, and it vividly shows the appearance of this beautiful young woman as a profiteer. It is also included for 6 days. If you limit a portion or not, the difference will be huge. Under normal circumstances, this restaurant can serve 3,000 people a day, but within 6 days, I will run at full speed, and my supply capacity may double. That would be a big deal for this restaurant. What's more, although this restaurant has this supply capacity, it is not full of customers every day. So this beautiful young woman looks at Xiao Fan like looking at a big white and tender sheep. She must take a bite hard, and she must not let it go easily. Yu Wenli also looked at Xiao Fan to see his answer. She was full of curiosity and anticipation for Xiao Fan's answer, because the less she could get the answer of why Xiao Fan did what he did, the more she wanted to find out from Xiao Fan's clues. "Come up with the answer you want," Xiao Fan said with a smile. "Manager 10, as long as your restaurant has the ability to do it, no matter how many meals you make, I will have all of them that meet the following requirements I put forward." Manager 10 immediately asked expectantly, "Sir, if you have any requirements, just tell us, we will definitely meet them." Yu Wenli looked at Xiao Fan more curiously, and Xiao Fan said seriously, "First, you can't cut corners on meals. You must ensure the quality and quantity of the meals. Second, the hygiene of the meals must be the best. As long as you can satisfy my requirements 2 conditions, I want as much as I have." But the ugly words come to the fore. "If you can fool me, let me discover the truth. I have the ability to make you spit out everything you eat." Manager 10 immediately promised, "Mr. is our most precious guest. We will never deceive any customer, let alone Mr. is the most honored guest in the history of our restaurant. Don't worry, sir, we will definitely satisfy these 2 requirements." Xiao Fan nodded and said, "Then you can calculate how much your daily production capacity is? Then tell me, and I can pay." Manager 10 asked with a look of surprise, "Sir, I would like to ask, will you eat in or take out?" Xiao Fan joked, "I said you seem to be such a shrewd person, how can you ask such a funny question? If you can eat all these meals, I will treat you to dine in." Manager 10 was in a very good mood because of making such a big order, so he stuck out his tongue mischievously and said, "But if you pack it, it will be very troublesome to pack. Can you use that kind of big bucket to deliver the goods to Mr. designated location?" Xiao Fan nodded and replied, "There is no problem at all. The insulation must be done well, and I don't like spills." Manager 10 smiled and said, "I see, I promise to satisfy the husband. By the way, haven't you asked your name yet?" Xiao Fan replied, "Xiao Fan." Manager 10 nodded and said, "Mr. Xiao, I will leave for a while. The statistical work will be done soon, and then I will report to Mr. Xiao. In addition, today's meals are all free of charge. It can be regarded as 2 gifts from our Mingyahua restaurant, a gift from a distinguished guest." After finishing speaking, the beautiful young woman manager took the waitress and left, but Yu Wenli couldn't help but fell into deep thought. This Xiao Fan didn't seem to have any mental problems. Judging from all the requests he just made, they were very rigorous and logical. Then he hoarded so many supplies and meals, there must be a reasonable explanation. Yu Wenli became more and more curious, but she didn't know that she was getting closer and closer to Xiao Fan's hook. Xiao Fan glanced at Yu Wenli, seeing her curious expression, couldn't help thinking, "Yu Wenli, if you bite my hook this time, let's see how I will punish you." As the saying goes, 10 years is not too late for a gentleman to take revenge, but I, Xiao Fan, never thought that my revenge would require a rebirth. Yu Wenli couldn't help but asked it this time, "Mr. Xiao, I'm really curious, don't you know? The better the insulation of the food, the easier it is to rot." Chapter 10 The beautiful Xia falls into the pit. Yu Wenli snorted, "Since Mr. Xiao doesn't want to say it, forget it. Let's talk about the deal between us." At this time, 2 waiters came in pushing the dining cart and began to bring the same dishes they ordered to the table, then politely leave and close the door. Xiao Fan said, "Mr. Yu, how much equity do you want in my real estate company? Can you tell me directly?" Yu Wenli hesitated and replied, "How about 30% of the equity?" Yu Wenli also knew that her asking price was relatively high, and her supplies were not worth 30% of the equity. But the two parties had to bargain after all, so she asked for a relatively high figure. Xiao Fan didn't say anything immediately, but just stared at Yu Wenli. Yu Wenli was very uncomfortable being looked at by Xiao Fan, so she said, "Mr. Xiao doesn't have to keep looking at me like this. If Mr. Xiao thinks my asking price is too high, Mr. Xiao can talk about his thoughts." Xiao Fan smiled and shook his head, but still didn't speak. Yu Wenli said unhappily, "Mr. Xiao, what do you mean? If Mr. Xiao really thinks that my asking price is too high and we have no room for negotiation, we can just say it directly, and you don't have to keep looking at me with this expression." Xiao Fan then smiled and said, "Mr. You completely misunderstood me. I mean that your asking price is too low. I can transfer 100% of the real estate company's equity to you." This time it was Yu Wenli's turn to stop talking. Xiao Fan didn't speak again, but picked up the chopsticks on the table, picked up a vegetable, put it in his mouth, and started eating slowly. Yu Wenli finally couldn't help but asked, "I think Mr. Xiao must have conditions for doing this, and he won't just take advantage of me for nothing, will he?" Xiao Fan put away his chopsticks and said with a smile, "I just like dealing with smart people like Mr. Yu. It's easy." Yu Wenli asked, "Since Mr. Xiao made such a big concession, the conditions he proposed must be very difficult. I want to hear what kind of conditions Mr. Xiao has. As a woman, can I afford it?" Xiao Fan said with a smile, "As long as Mr. Yu can accept my conditions, I will be able to do it and afford it. I won't mention some conditions that Mr. Yu can't meet, because that would be a waste of my own precious time." Yu Wenli asked, "Then Mr. Xiao, please tell me about your conditions." Xiao Fan said seriously, "Mr. Yu's materials can get up to 10% of the shares, which is already a sky-high estimate. I think Mr. Yu knows this in his heart." Yu Wenli didn't answer, it was a default. Xiao Fan continued, "Then I want Mr. Yu for 5 years for the 190% equity." Yu Wenli stood up excitedly and said angrily, "Xiao Fan, I really didn't expect you to be such a person. You are simply too much. Yu Wenli, only do business, and it doesn't matter if the business fails. I will not betray my body." Xiao Fan thought to herself that she is indeed a woman who guards herself like a jade. No wonder she chases and kills herself so relentlessly. Xiao Fan laughed and said, "Mr. Yu, why are you so excited? You misunderstood me." Yu Wenli snorted, "Then what do you mean?" Xiao Fan said, "I want you to be my subordinate within these 5 years, but I don't get any economic benefits from you. I just want you to implement some of my instructions, and these instructions will never interfere. You run your own real estate company, and it has nothing to do with you." The more Yu Wenli listened, the more confused she became, but she didn't speak, she just listened quietly. Xiao Fan continued, "Under the premise of not damaging your economic interests, and without compromising your personal dignity, I want you to carry out all my instructions without any violation." "Just 5 years?" Yu Wenli shook her head and said, "I can't go against my conscience and do something illegal." Xiao Fan shook his head and said, "Remember, as long as the laws of this society still exist, I won't let you do some illegal things. How about it?" This is Xiao Fan's trick for Yu Wenli. The apocalypse will come 7 days later, and the whole planet will collapse. There are no rules at all. Yu Wenli thought for a while and said, "As long as you clearly write the premise you just mentioned into the contract, and add a clause that as long as you violate it, I can terminate the contract at any time without taking any responsibility. Then I will willing to accept your terms." Xiao Fan nodded and replied, "There is no problem, just follow the specific terms of these contracts we agreed on just now and let you write it." Yu Wenli asked in disbelief, "Is what you said true?" Xiao Fan asked back, "Mr. Yu, do you think I am joking with you?" Yu Wenli stared into Xiao Fan's eyes for a long time before saying, "Then I will draft the contract." Xiao Fan nodded and said, "But one more thing must be added. As long as I do not violate the terms of the contract cannot be terminated at will during the execution period. Otherwise, you have breached the contract. Once you breach the contract, you must accept any punishment from me." Yu Wenli began to think carefully about Xiao Fan's words. The conditions Xiao Fan raised seemed to be very vicious, but in fact they didn't make much sense, because there were 3 prerequisites, which determined that Xiao Fan would not let her do it. Anything she doesn't want to do. Therefore, Xiao Fan's so-called severe punishment has no meaning, and there is nothing to promise. But she would never have imagined that after 7 days, all the order on this planet would collapse, and those 3 prerequisites would become meaningless existences. But at this moment, Yu Wenli didn't know that she had jumped into Xiao Fan's trap, so she said, "I can promise." Xiao Fan smiled slightly and continued, "Do you want to add another supplementary clause?" Yu Wenli asked curiously, "What does Mr. Xiao mean by the supplementary terms?" Xiao Fan said seriously, "In these 5 years, if Mr. Yu continues to obtain huge benefits from me, then the term of our original contract will be extended indefinitely. Do you accept it?" Yu Wenli began to think seriously. As long as she owns the real estate company of the Xiao Group, do she still need to get any huge benefits from Xiao Fan? Unnecessary. She, Yu Wenli, is a contented woman, not a greedy woman, so Yu Wenli said, "This is completely a dispensable agreement. If Mr. Xiao thinks it is better to add it, I have no objection." Chapter 11 The Beauty President and Number 039, S Contract. When the end of the world comes 7 days later, I will use you to awaken your abilities as a bait. I don't believe you can refuse this temptation. At that time, you will completely become my person. Thinking about how a powerful supernatural being who had nothing to do with him has become his own person, Xiao Fan couldn't help feeling proud for a while. Xiao Fan smiled and said, "Yu, I would like you to follow your heart and say that all the terms of the contract we negotiated this time are voluntary, without any coercion, right?" Yu Wenli nodded and replied, "There is no coercion, I do it voluntarily." Xiao Fan added, "At that time, as long as I don't violate the terms of the contract, you have to carry out the agreement between us no matter what. Can Mr. Xiao do it?" Yu Wenli suddenly had a very bad premonition. Why did she feel as if she had fallen into someone's trap, but she couldn't figure it out? How did Xiao Fan set herself up? Seeing Yu Wenli's silence for a long time, Xiao Fan sarcastically said, "Yu, the contract between us has not been signed yet, and you start to hesitate. How can you convince me that you will seriously implement our contract?" Terms of the contract, Yu Wenli finally said, "As long as we strictly fulfill the agreement between us, I will not break the agreement." Xiao Fan said with a smile, "My time is also very precious. Why don't I just eat here, and Mr. Yu sorts out the terms of the contract, and we will sign after the meal. After signing the contract, I will tell the real estate company all the management rights of the company will be handed over to you, so you can take me to your warehouse to have a look. How about this arrangement?" Yu Wenli said dissatisfied, "I'm still hungry, why can't I eat first?" Seeing her coquettish appearance, Xiao Fan was instantly attracted. Although this woman's daughter-in-law attitude didn't mean to be coquettish, she was still very cute and naive, so attractive to men. Seeing Xiao Fan's expression, Yu Wenli also realized that a reaction just now was inappropriate, so she said angrily, "If you don't want to eat, don't eat, you can eat by yourself. I will use my mobile phone to sort out the terms of the contract now." While enjoying his delicious food, Xiao Fan watched the beauty in front of him write a deed of sale for himself, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart, saying that there are people in this world who have been sold by others, and they are helping others to count the money. Did the big beauty in front of me sell herself for a penny? And she had to write the deed of sale herself. The more Xiao Fan thinks about it, the more beautiful she becomes, and she feels that the bird spirit that she received from this woman for a decade or two in the apocalypse has all disappeared. Yu Wenli glanced at Xiao Fan secretly, and sneered in her heart, "You stinky man thinks you are taking advantage of my mother, so I will design the terms of this contract more strictly, and when you want to implement the terms of the contract, it turned out that it was a piece of waste paper. When the time comes, you won't be able to find a place to cry. Regret makes your intestines green. Let you give away 90% of the equity in your real estate company to my old lady for nothing. I have never done such a happy thing in my life. I thought it would be difficult for my career to reach a higher level. But I didn't expect that you would give my mother a second career." This pair of men and women who were happy enemies in the last days thought they had tricked each other out. Of course, both of them can't be winners, there can only be one winner. Xiao Fan reminded him while eating, "You must consider the terms of this contract carefully once and for all. We will start to implement it after we sign it. You can't say that you will add supplementary terms after we sign it. Do you understand what I mean?" Yu Wenli snorted coldly and said nothing, thinking, such a simple matter, do I still need you to remind me? My old lady must have designed this contract so seamlessly that you can't find a place to cry. At this time, there was a knock on the door of the private room, and the restaurant manager Tan walked in and said with a smile on his face, Xiao, we have just calculated it. If our restaurant is fully operational, It can serve 6,000 people a day. Breakfast is based on each person. The standard of 100 yuan, the standard of 300 yuan per person for lunch and dinner, 6,000 people a day is a total of 4.2 million, and 6 days is 25.2 million. Xiao Fan nodded and said, no problem, I don't ask for any discounts, but you must guarantee the quality of the food. Does your restaurant accept transfers or credit cards? Manager Tan was completely stunned, which was a bit too generous. She even accepted the other party's psychological expectation of erasing 5.2 million. Even if 5.2 million was erased, the restaurant still made a lot of money, but Xiao Fan paid the bill directly without any bargaining, which is a bit too big. Even Yu Wenli, who was on the side, couldn't help muttering in a low voice, what a super prodigal son. I don't know how distressed I am when I sell my grandfather. Manager Tan hurriedly said, it's alright. Xiao Fan took out a black gold card from himself and said, then swipe the card now. Manager Tan stared at Xiao Fan holding the black gold card and said excitedly, Mr. Xiao, please wait a moment, I'll go get the OS machine now. Manager Tan bounced and left the private room. She was really happy. After completing this order, she will get more than 3 million bonuses. Yu Wenli couldn't help but asked, I said, why are you so generous? Do you think she is beautiful and want to knock her out with money? Don't blame me for not reminding you, there are too many beautiful women in this world. You have to be careful that your pocket is not big enough. Xiao Fan was neither angry nor explained. Yu Wenli's ability to say such a sentence changed Xiao Fan's opinion of her a lot. At least this woman still has a good heart, kind. Seeing that Xiao Fan didn't respond to her words, Yu Wenli also felt very bored, so she stopped talking and continued to discuss the terms of her contract. Soon the beautiful Manager Tan came to the private room bouncing around with an OS machine in his hand, and said excitedly, Mr. Xiao, please swipe your card. Xiao Fan handed the card directly to Manager Tan. After setting the amount, Manager Tan felt his hands trembling. He read the set amount again and again to confirm that it was correct, inserted Xiao Fan's black gold card, and asked him to enter the password. Xiao Fan said indifferently, the password is 6 zeros and you enter it yourself. Yu Wenli on the side slandered again, how unfortunate is his father and mother, who gave birth to such a thing, what a super prodigal son. If it's my son, I'll break his legs. Bah, what am I thinking? I don't even have a boyfriend, how could I have such a big son? Chapter 12 The Scary Intuition of a Beauty. This means that she has more than 3 million rewards. This is something she has never thought about since she became a professional manager. She respectfully handed the black gold card to Xiao Fan's hand again, and Xiao Fan threw it on the dining table indifferently. Thank you very much, Manager Tan, for leaving. Xiao Fan then looked at Yu Wenli and said, she left just like that. I didn't make any excessive demands. Do you think I'm beating her unconscious with money like you said? Yu Wenli snorted, I misunderstood you, okay? I thought you were a pervert, but now I understand that you are just a simple prodigal. Xiao Fan didn't have any excuses, and laughed secretly in his heart. You know what a fart? This is the advantage of poor information. Soon people will find that all the money is waste paper, and the truth is that the money can be spent and turned into their own goods, and you, a self-righteous woman, will soon become my pocket. The real estate company you get is also a mirror image. Xiao Fan was in a good mood and said, Mr. You, why don't you take a break first and stop writing? I can't bear you to sort out the contract while you're hungry. Yu Wenli blurted out and asked, your conscience has found out, and you also know that it is cruel to let a woman starve. Xiao Fan shook his head and said, I'm just worried that after you starve to death, you will ask me for sick leave. In that case, I will lose a lot in the contract performance period. After hearing this, Yu Wenli said angrily, Xiao Fan, can you speak human words? I doubt that a man like you will have a woman who really likes you. Even if there is a woman around you, it is you who likes you. Money, definitely not you. Xiao Fan shook his head again and said, Mr. You, it seems that you really don't understand me. My ability to coax girls is definitely very clever. It's just that you will be my subordinate, not mine. Woman, why should I go out of my way to please you? After hearing this, Yu Wenli was really breathless, and couldn't help but angrily said, Mr. Xiao, I advise you not to be too complacent. After we signed the contract, don't regret that you gave me 90% of the equity in your real estate company for nothing. Xiao Fan said proudly, Mr. You don't have to think about it for me. It's fine if I let you accompany me to read books and newspapers for me. And it's fine if I let you bring me tea and water, Yu Wenli snorted. That depends on my time. If my company needs to deal with a lot of things, I can't do them for you. Xiao Fan nodded and said, that makes sense, but I laughed in my heart. Your company will soon be gone, and it will be destroyed by the interstellar iron beetle. What kind of excuses can you make when you see it? Of course, no matter how proud Xiao Fan is in his heart, he will not tell the cruel truth now. Yu Wenli saw that Xiao Fan was not in a hurry when she heard what she said, and she became even more puzzled and curious. What is this stinky man's plan? What are you planning in your mind? I can't figure it out at all. Xiao Fan was full soon, wiped his mouth in a very disrespectful manner and praised, Mr. Yu, I now find that your suggestion is very good. Indeed, as you said, the various meals in this restaurant are really very good. It's so delicious. Are you sure you don't want to eat it now? If you don't want to eat it, I'll ask the waiter to take all the food away, Yu Wenli said angrily. Xiao Fan, tell me the truth. Is this the first time we meet today? Xiao Fan nodded, but was surprised in her heart. This woman had such a terrible intuition, and realized that there seemed to be a grievance between me and her long ago. Yu Wenli snorted and said, since we two met for the first time today, why do I feel that you seem to have known me a long time ago, and you are always targeting me? Can you explain to me what's going on? Xiao Fan said innocently, woman, you are too self-righteous. This is just your feeling. Just because you have this feeling, do I have to help you lie together to satisfy your feeling? Yu Wenli said firmly, but my feeling has always been accurate, and I have never made a mistake. I believe my feeling is still accurate this time. Xiao Fan sighed softly and said, maybe this time you are hungry and you feel that you are not sure. If you want me to say, come and have a couple of meals, and then get your contract, Yu Wenli snorted, why do you suddenly care about me again now? But why do I feel like you are deliberately avoiding my previous questions? Xiao Fan sneered on the surface, but was even more surprised in his heart. This woman's intuition is really scary. Maybe she was able to awaken a powerful ability in the last days like herself, because it has something to do with her terrible intuition. It seems that I should be more careful in front of her in the future, and not get too complacent. Xiao Fan smiled and said, Mr. Yu, I think you have completely misunderstood me. I am a joking person sometimes, but I am not a bad person in general, so I am worried that you will be hungry. I invite you to come over for dinner. Yu Wenli stared into Xiao Fan's eyes for a long time before saying, okay, I believe you this time. This woman actually wanted to see the flaws in Xiao Fan's eyes. This is simply wishful thinking, whimsical. Xiao Fan has experienced 50 years of end-time massacres. His mind is so strong and firm. Even if every word he says is a lie, his eyes will not show any emptiness and wondering. Finding a flaw is harder than picking up a needle from the ocean. Yu Wenli then started to eat. Although she was very hungry, she still ate very elegantly. Xiao Fan just watched quietly from the side. Yu Wenli felt a little embarrassed, so she said angrily, can you stop staring at me like this? I finished sorting out the terms of the contract, or you can see if there is anything you want to modify first. Xiao Fan joked, didn't you keep staring at me just now, and I didn't say anything? Now it's my turn to look at you. You can stand it? It's too sensitive. As for the terms of the contract, I won't say anything. Look, no matter what you design, as long as there is no fundamental change to the terms of the contract we directly negotiated, I fully accept it. Yu Wenli was thinking about Xiao Fan's words while eating, but no matter how much she thought about it, she couldn't think of a reason. Although this man looked foolish, he had to say that he was too profound, and she couldn't see through it at all. If she hadn't been tempted by the huge benefits, she would never have taken the risk to sign such a contract. Chapter 13 Food Plan Surprise. Xiao Fan smiled and said, Mr. Yu, from this moment on, the real estate company of my Xiao group will belong to you. Yu Wenli felt like a dream, very unreal, and she just got a top real estate company, but looking at the contract in her hand, she believed that this was really a dream. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. The so-called life is like a play. Xiao Fan continued, Mr. Yu, can we go to see your company's grain storage now? Yu Wenli regained her calm smile and said, of course, there is no problem. We can start now. Our company's grain depot is in the outer suburbs. It's just that it takes a lot of time to drive. Is Mr. Xiao really going right away? Xiao Fan said with a smile, time is really urgent, there can be no delay. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in such a hurry to sign the contract with Mr. Yu. Yu Wenli didn't say anything anymore, but left Mingyue in restaurant with Xiao Fan. She got into Xiao Fan's car and went to the grain depot. On the way, Yu Wenli couldn't help but take out the contract in the bag and read it over and over again. Xiao Fan finds it ridiculous. It's just a deed of prostitution. Is it worth looking at it so excitedly? I can guarantee you will go crazy and want to eat this contract in a few days. Xiao Fan felt funny in his heart, but he couldn't say it out. Yu Wenli suddenly said, "Mr. Xiao, one day you won't regret it, right?" Xiao Fan shook his head and replied, "As long as Mr. Yu doesn't regret it, how can I regret it?" Yu Wenli said proudly, "It's good that Mr. Xiao doesn't regret it. According to the contract we signed, your real estate company belongs to me, but you can't actually let me do anything, because you have to carefully read the plan I made. According to this contract, whatever you ask me to do will not affect my management of the company. So what you said before, ask me to read the newspaper to you, bring you tea and water, that is impossible." Xiao Fan nodded. The expression on his face didn't change at all, and he didn't even show anything. Yu Wenli asked, "Mr. Xiao, are you not angry when you hear me explaining this to you? Are you not angry? Don't you feel that you are being tricked by me? Women are like this, they have a strong desire for revenge. No matter how good a woman is, she can't get rid of this frame." Xiao Fan made Yu Wenli very upset before, but now Yu Wenli wants to stimulate Xiao Fan in turn. But Yu Wenli didn't see Xiao Fan's crazy appearance, and Yu Wenli suddenly felt extremely frustrated. She asked, "Mr. Xiao, is there something wrong with your ears? Didn't you understand what I said? Got your real estate company and you got nothing. Aren't you angry? Aren't you angry?" Xiao Fan laughed and said, "Mr. Yu, why are you so anxious for me? I was tricked by you, so I am willing to admit the loss. I really don't understand why you seem to be bigger than me." Excited, Yu Wenli stared at Xiao Fan, but she felt more and more unable to see through the man in front of her, and became more and more uneasy. Yu Wenli also stopped talking, and she began to think seriously, how will this man plan on her? But she thought over and over again in her heart, but she couldn't figure out why. Finally confirmed, maybe Xiao Fan simply likes prodigals. The two of them didn't talk all the way, and soon came to the grain depot of Yu Wenli Company. Yu Wenli led Lin Kiffin to inspect the granaries, and Xiao Fan couldn't stop nodding. It would not be a problem if these grains were enough for him to eat for tens of thousands of years. Even if you raise a power, it will be enough for hundreds of years. Xiao Fan's supernatural space has a very powerful function, that is, all inanimate movable objects that Xiao Fan sees can be automatically taken into the space by him. So when Yu Wenli accompanied Xiao Fan to look at the granaries, Xiao Fan took the grain from each granary into his supernatural space, and Yu Wenli didn't feel anything about it at all. After seeing the last granary, Yu Wenli asked, "Mr. Xiao, these grains are all yours now. If you want to transport them anytime, just say hello to me." Xiao Fan nodded and said, "I will arrange people to transport it as soon as possible, but from now on, these granaries are not allowed to be opened again, otherwise it will be stealing my grain." Yu Wenli snorted and said, "Mr. Xiao, don't worry, I will tell the people in the company that no one will open these granaries. We are a serious company and not thieves." Xiao Fan didn't care about Yu Wenli's attitude and continued, "Mr. Yu, when do you plan to take over your real estate company? Do you want me to explain it in advance?" Yu Wenli said, "I will personally accompany you to see the granary. Of course you have to accompany me to take over my real estate company." Xiao Fan agreed very happily, and accompanied Yu Wenli to take over the real estate company. The staff of the real estate company did not feel any surprises, because they all knew the boss's crazy plan, but they were very envious of Yu Wenli, envious that she could take over this very quality real estate company. Xiao Fan and Yu Wenli finally came to the general manager's office. Xiao Fan said, "Mr. Yu, from now on, this company is yours. Congratulations." Speaking of stretching out her right hand, Yu Wenli thought of the scene where she was held tightly by this guy and didn't let go. Not only did she not shake hands with Xiao Fan, she even hid her hand behind her back. Xiao Fan didn't care and said, "Mr. Yu, then enjoy the fun of this company you run. I will naturally come to you when I need you." Yu Wenli snorted coldly and didn't speak, thinking, what if you come to find my old lady? The 3 major protection clauses designed in my old lady's contract can ensure that my old lady is safe and worry-free, and my old lady is still afraid of your failure. Xiao Fan bid farewell and left. Just as he walked out of the real estate company, he received a call from a stranger. Xiao Fan answered the call. Hello, who is it? Mr. Xiao, hello, I'm Tan Fifei, the manager of Mingayu Huayin restaurant. We just met at noon. Mr. Xiao still remembers me. Of course I remember. What's the matter with Manager Tan? Mr. Xiao, I'm really very sorry. I apologize to you first. There was an accident with the meals you ordered for 6 days, but please believe that it wasn't my intention. I'm just a professional manager, and I have nothing to do with it. I feel very sorry for you, so I secretly called to inform you. Chapter 14. The one who cheated him was the enemy of the last days. In the 50 years of fighting in the last days, he didn't even remember how many opponents he had killed. This time when he was reborn, he brought back all the killing techniques. Xiao Fan asked coldly, Manager Tan, tell me what's wrong. If it's really not your problem, I won't trouble you. But if you don't tell me clearly, all the consequences you bear it. Tan Fifei hesitated for a while and said, it's your boss. He saw the money and thought that Mr. Xiao didn't sign a cooperation agreement with us, so he planned to swallow Mr. Xiao's money for nothing and not fulfill the food delivery agreement. I think it was wrong for him to do this, so I quarreled with him. He directly threatened to fire me, and said that if I want to get my bonus smoothly, I must cooperate well with him. But I can't get past my conscience, so I just called to tell you. Xiao Fan said, understood, the next thing has nothing to do with you, so just pretend you don't know anything. Xiao Fan ended the call with a cold gleam in his eyes. The owner of Mingayu Huayin restaurant really thinks that I, Xiao Fan, are so easily bullied. You never know who you've messed with? In front of Xiao Fan, the beautiful young woman Tan Fifei appeared again. This beautiful woman can get along with her. Xiao Fan drove to Mingayu Huayin restaurant. When he arrived, he parked the car, and Xiao Fan asked a waiter directly, I'm talking about where your boss works, not your manager, so tell me. The waiter was very surprised, but seeing Xiao Fan's deep gaze shone with chills, he didn't dare to disobey anything. He pointed to the back of the manor and said, the attic with the Mingayu building at the end is our boss's office. The place. Xiao Fan nodded and walked towards Mingayu building. When he came to the front of the building, he was stopped by 2 security guards. They were 2 very young and strong security guards. They seemed to be carefully selected bodyguards. A security guard asked, Sir, please stay here, the office is here, no one is allowed to enter without an invitation. Xiao Fan asked with a smile, is your boss in there? A security guard stared at Xiao Fan vigilantly and replied, we don't know either. Xiao Fan smiled coldly, and walked straight into Wang Mingayu building. 2 security guards stopped him in front of him to prevent him from entering. Xiao Fan bent his right knee and bent hard against the abdomen of a security guard. The security guard immediately couldn't breathe in pain, clutching his stomach and lying on the ground rolling non-stop, because the pain was too much to even make a sound. Xiao Fan looked at another security guard and warned coldly, get out of the way, or he will be your fate. The security guard looked at Xiao Fan again. He looked like a prehistoric beast. He was so frightened that he hurriedly dodged aside, not daring to stop him anymore. Xiao Fan walked into Mingayu Tower and came out again soon. Looking at the dumbfounded security guard, he asked, tell me, where's your boss's office? The security guard instinctively replied, the 2nd floor. Xiao Fan smiled and said, thank you. He entered the Mingayu building again, came to the chairman's office on the 2nd floor, opened the door and barged in. There was a woman scream in the office, what? Get out, who let you in? The fat middle-aged man behind the boss's desk patted the beautiful secretary on his lap and scolded Xiao Fan angrily. The screaming female secretary also calmed down at this time, looked at Xiao Fan and scolded, who are you? Are you polite? Which department? Just broke into the boss's office like this, you will be fired. But Xiao Fan narrowed his eyes slightly when he saw the fat middle-aged man with the big ears. Xiao Fan was too familiar with this guy. In the apocalypse, Xiao Fan's enemies are not only the interstellar iron beetle, but also those who have awakened abilities like Xiao Fan and want to dominate. One of the most important opponents is this guy in front of him, the fat dragon Li Kuang, who claims to be the dragon of darkness. He can be said to be a guy who does all kinds of evil. Relying on his awakened and powerful abilities, he has done countless evils. As long as he sees a beautiful woman, he will snatch it away, kill the man who is unwilling to submit to him directly. He asked Xiao Fan to submit to him many times. How could Xiao Fan submit to such a rotten person? The 2 sides broke out many fierce battles, and they fought for more than 10 years without a winner. But today Xiao Fan unexpectedly met Li Kuang. the fat dragon before the end of the world. The killing intent in Xiao Fan's heart can no longer be controlled. This is a God-given opportunity for Xiao Fan. In the last days, there is no chance to kill him. Then he can only die. What's more, he dared to blackmail his own money, even more, damn it. Xiao Fan looked at the beautiful female secretary on Filong Li Kuang's lap and said, "Get out, you have nothing to do here." The female secretary said angrily, "Who are you to talk to my mother like this? Believe it or not, my mother told you not to get out of this Mingyu tower, and told you to crawl out from here." The female secretary rushed in front of Xiao Fan. She raised her hand and was about to slap Xiao Fan fiercely. Xiao Fan didn't wait for her to swing her hand. A slap flew over like lightning. The female secretary was slapped on the face by Xiao Fan. Her enchanting body spun a few times in the air and then fell to the ground with a plop. No more noise. The fat dragon Li Kuang turned pale with fright. He stood up abruptly, looked at Xiao Fan with flickering eyes. How much strength does a person have to slap another person spinning in the air like a ball? Fat dragon Li Kuang looked at Xiao Fan and asked, "Who are you? Do you know what you are doing? Believe it or not, because of that slap just now, I will make you never see the light of day again." Xiao Fan didn't answer his words, but walked towards him step by step. Fat dragon Li Kuang picked up his mobile phone and was about to call for help, but Xiao Fan just changed his mind, and the mobile phone in Fei Long Li Kuang's hand disappeared out of thin air, and it had been taken into Xiao Fan's supernatural space. Fat dragon Li Kuang was completely terrified all of a sudden. If his fear just now was due to the tremendous power Xiao Fan displayed, but this time his fear was due to Xiao Fan's ability to make his phone disappear out of thin air. He knew that he couldn't be Xiao Fan's opponent at all. This bully who was extremely rampant in the last days, now his face turned extremely pale, and his legs began to tremble slightly. His lips fluttered and said, "Brother, don't be impulsive, don't do it casually. Feel free to ask for anything. It was because I spoke in the wrong way and tone just now. I apologize to you. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 Dawn in number 039, T dare to trick me, die? Seeing Xiao Fan smile, Fat Dragon Li Kuang became even more flustered, and asked, "Brother, please calm down. I wonder if you are asking for money? If so, just ask, I will definitely satisfy you." Xiao Fan sneered, "I'm not asking for money, I'm just getting back my original things." Xiao Fan walked up to him step by step, stretched out his middle finger, tapped his forehead and said, "I said your mind is full of shit, but you dare to swallow my money. Do you think I'm real? So easy to bully?" Fat Dragon Li Kuang asked in a daze, "Brother, can you understand what you said? I'm a little confused. When did I swallow your money?" Filong Li Kuang really didn't expect that he would be betrayed by Tan Fifei just after he made a decision not long ago, so he is very confused now. He didn't connect Xiao Fan with what just happened. Xiao Fan sneered, "You just swallowed more than 25 million of my meal money, so you can't remember this matter." Fat Dragon Li Kuang suddenly realized, and couldn't help cursing in his heart, "Tan Fifei, you stinky bitch, wait for me. I see you are beautiful. I let you be the restaurant manager, but I won't let me take any advantage, and the critical moment how dare you betray me. Let's see how I deal with you in the future." The more he thought about it, the angrier he became, and he blurted out, "Brother, did you hear that stinky woman Tan Fifei's nonsense? You must not believe what she said. She must have lied to you. A restaurant as big as me, the emphasis is on honest management. How can it be possible to swallow the guests' meal money? This is absolutely impossible." Xiao Fan sneered, "Li Kuang, you may not know me, but I know you. What kind of person are you? I know it very well. You can fool others with your nonsense, but if you want to fool me, you are too immature a bit. Call all the restaurant executives now and tell them about your latest decision." Fat Dragon Li Kuang asked suspiciously, "Brother, I understand what you mean. I will call them right away and tell them to hurry up and produce all the meals." Xiao Fan shook his head and replied, "You didn't understand me. I asked you to call them. Tan Fifei will now manage everything in this restaurant on your behalf. Everyone else must follow Tan Fifei's instructions unconditionally. Listen to me, have you spoken?" Fat Dragon Li Kuang pleaded, "Brother, is it too much for you to do this? I am the owner of this restaurant. How could I give all the rights of my restaurant to that stinky woman Tan Fifei? Xiao Fan stretched out his hands to pinch Fat Dragon Li Kuang's mouth, and with just a little force, Fat Dragon Li Kuang felt that all his teeth were loose. The moment he felt pain, his whole body seemed to be poured with water, and his clothes were soaked in cold sweat, but even though it was so painful, he couldn't make a sound. Xiao Fan sneered, "Would you like to do what I say now? I just let your teeth move and give them a little freedom. If you don't want to do what I say, I will let your tongue move too. Move, and move your eyes and ears and nose too." Fat Dragon Li Kuang couldn't speak, but nodded desperately. He didn't dare to disobey again. Xiao Fan patted his big fat face and said, "Listen to me, don't be smart enough to ask for help during the phone call. It will only let you see the king of Hades. I will do what I say, and I will never give you a second chance." As Xiao Fan let go of Li Kuang, the cold storage was released by Xiao Fan, and the nervous system of his whole body was also freed. Suddenly, the pain exploded violently, and he kept wailing in pain. Xiao Fan warned coldly, "Don't make such a pig screaming sound to me again, it makes me sick to hear it. Let me hear it again, and I'll cut off your tongue." Fat Dragon Li Kuang didn't dare to make a sound anymore. He resisted the severe pain, his whole body was trembling non-stop, but he didn't dare to make a sound anymore. Xiao Fan looked very comfortable. "Fat Dragon Li Kuang, Laozi took care of you. You would never have thought that you would die in Laozi's hands like this. You would not even have the chance to enter the end times, let alone want to in the end times dominate one side." Xiao Fan took out his mobile phone and handed it to him, saying, "Remember what I told you, do as I said, and add another one. Let them produce the meals I need at full speed without any delay. Understand?" Li Kuang nodded desperately. He didn't dare to have any thoughts of resistance now, because he saw that Xiao Fan didn't move his hand, and his phone that disappeared out of thin air appeared in Xiao Fan's hand just like that. He really couldn't figure out whether Xiao Fan was a person or a ghost. He looked at the mobile phone that Xiao Fan handed to him, and he didn't have any other thoughts in his heart except the incomparable fear. He stretched out his trembling right hand to take over his mobile phone, but he couldn't even hold his mobile phone steady because of fear. Fat Dragon Li Kuang said vaguely, "Brother, I can't hold my phone." Xiao Fan sarcastically said, "It's ridiculous that you still want to swallow my money. I'll give you 3 minutes to calm down. If you still can't get your phone after 3 minutes, call and you'll never have to call again." Fat Dragon Li Kuang nodded hurriedly, and began to take a deep breath to adjust to his state, but every time he took a breath, he grinned his teeth in pain, and kept hissing, "It hurts too much." Xiao Fan looked at him coldly, thinking how to kill him later. At this moment, the female secretary next to her woke up, trying to struggle to get up. Xiao Fan kicked her, and the female secretary became silent again. It's not that Xiao Fan is cruel. This woman is going to beat him first. Xiao Fan won't be polite. He won't be merciful just because the other party is a woman. Even if he is sympathetic to her, he will never sympathize with a bitch who is played to death by her rival. Seeing his female secretary being treated so miserably by Xiao Fan, Li Kuang, the fat dragon, was even more terrified. He actually lay on the ground, put the phone in front of him, unlocked the phone password, and started calling one by one, confessing to his subordinates. Absolutely follow Tan Fifei's instructions and strive to produce the meals that Xiao Fan needs with the highest quality. Finally, Fat Dragon Li Kuang dialed Tan Fifei's cell phone, but Xiao Fan heard Tan Fifei's cell phone ringing outside Fat Dragon Li Kuang's office. Chapter 16: The Omen of the End Times. I saw Tan Fifei standing outside. Tan Fifei stood there stunned and at a loss, like a thief who was caught on the spot. In fact, Li Kuang works here alone in this Mingyu building. This is for the convenience of him to have a good time here without being disturbed, so no one will find out how much trouble here, but the reason why Tan Fifei came here is because of her. I saw Xiao Fan enter Mingyulu. The two security guards shrank aside in fear of being beaten, and Tan Fifei came in directly. She was curious about what would happen inside, but she didn't expect Li Kuang to call her at this time. Tan Fifei was immediately exposed. After all, she felt a little guilty, and stood there blankly, not knowing what to do. Xiao Fan dragged her into Li Kuang's office. Tan Fifei was taken aback again. Li Kuang was lying on the ground like a dog on the phone, and when he saw Tan Fifei coming in, he happened to raise his head, remembering the way a dog is eating and looking up at people. What surprised Tan Fifei even more was that the mighty secretary Li Kuang was lying on the ground like a dead dog, and she didn't know whether she had fainted or died. Tan Fifei said in horror, "Mr. Xiao, this matter has nothing to do with me. Please don't hurt me. Xiao Fan looked at her and smiled. Don't worry, as long as you are obedient, I won't do anything to you. Terrified, Tan Fifei hurriedly nodded desperately. Xiao Fan looked at Li Kuang and said, you don't need to call now, just tell her what you want to say. Li Kuang was still lying on the ground looking at Tan Fifei and said, from now on, this restaurant will be owned by you. Remember that the most important thing is to produce the meals that Mr. Xiao needs with both quality and quantity. Xiao Fan said with a cold smile, very well, as long as you are obedient, I will let you go. Li Kuang hurriedly stated, Mr. Xiao, don't worry, I must be very obedient. I will do whatever Mr. Xiao asks me to do. Xiao Fan looked at Tan Fifei and said, you go out and wait for me first. I will talk to your boss for a while and I will go out to find you. Tan Fifei nodded and went out again. Then Xiao Fan squatted in front of Li Kuang and said, Li Kuang, you are of no value to me. I will send you on your way now. Remember the worst mistake you have done in your life. The two things are, first, you shouldn't provoke me, and second, you shouldn't provoke me again. Li Kuang was very confused when he heard Xiao Fan's words. When did he provoke him twice? But before he could ask the question, he stopped breathing forever with this question, because Xiao Fan broke his neck without hesitation, and didn't even give him the last chance to scream. Xiao Fan looked at Li Kuang's secretary, and ended her life without any hesitation, and temporarily put their corpses into a supernatural space for separate storage. After finishing all this, Xiao Fan walked out. Seeing Xiao Fan coming out, Tan Fifei hurriedly asked, Mr. Xiao, where is our boss? What should I do now? Xiao Fan walked up to her and asked, are you married? Tan Fifei shook her head and replied, I don't even have a boyfriend. The boss has always wanted to possess me and keep other men from approaching me, but I didn't give him any chance to take advantage of me. Xiao Fan nodded and said, from now on, don't worry about anything, don't ask anything, just focus on producing the meals I need. I promise you will get unexpected rewards in 6 days. As for what you want to get, if you still want money, I will give you 30 million. Hearing this number, Tan Fifei's eyes shone brightly, and she nodded hastily. If someone else said this to her, she would definitely not believe it, but she believed it very much when Xiao Fan said it, because in her eyes, Xiao Fan is the kind of superhero who spends money like water, and he is absolutely unbelievable will deceive her. Xiao Fan patted her on the shoulder and said, hurry up and do what you should do. Tan Fifei left, but she couldn't help being ecstatic in her heart. She had already forgotten about her boss. Xiao Fan left the Mingyuhua Inn restaurant and did not drive very far when he received a call from Hu Miao. Hu Miao told Xiao Fan that several agreements had been signed, and the bonus was more than 1 billion yuan. The first batch of supplies will be delivered tomorrow. You can reach the warehouse of Xiao Group. Xiao Fan was very satisfied with Hu Miao's efficiency, and praised her fiercely on the phone, and Hu Miao couldn't help but jump wildly in her heart after being praised. This man actually praised himself. He must be very satisfied with himself, and he will definitely like himself even more. The call wasn't over yet, but both of them couldn't hear each other's words anymore, because at this moment, not only the two of them, but everyone else's mobile phone signal disappeared. Immediately afterwards, the originally very clear sky, suddenly black clouds rose up. Everyone else thought that heavy rain was coming, only Xiao Fan sank down violently. He has seen too many such dark clouds in the last days. In fact, these are not dark clouds, but the strong magnetic storm clusters created by those interstellar war beetles. This is a sign that the star iron scarab is coming. In the apocalypse, as long as Xiao Fan sees such a dark cloud, Xiao Fan knows that a battle is coming soon. Xiao Fan is really hard to understand. Isn't he reborn on the 7th day before the end of the world? At that time, I remembered that the interstellar iron beetle did not come, but why did such a strong magnetic storm appear in front of my eyes? Did the interstellar iron beetle come earlier because of his own rebirth? Xiao Fan's heart is getting more and more serious. If it is really like what he guessed, it is not a good thing, because it will lead to the end of his stockpiling plan. His current power space is just storing some food. Xiao Fan couldn't help cursing in his heart. Damn interstellar iron beetle, if you dare to come early, I will definitely not let you go. Looking at the pedestrians running in a hurry to avoid the coming rainstorm, Xiao Fan became more and more anxious. Suddenly, those magnetic storms in the sky began to flicker and emit light, as if a piece of black coal was instantly ignited. Xiao Fan cursed, damn it, the interstellar iron beetle is really coming. Damn it, Xiao Fan, who seldom swears, couldn't help but yell, as those magnetic storms flashed brightly. Many people stopped in their tracks. They were all very curious because they had never seen such lightning before. Some even exclaimed loudly, "There are so many spherical lightning." Chapter 17 The First Battle. He is already ready to fight. If the interstellar iron beetle really descends, the corrosive liquid that will be sprayed out first will cover the sky and destroy everything. If you want to avoid the corrosive liquid of the interstellar iron beetle, you can't hide in any room or car, because whether it is a high-rise building or a car, it will instantly turn into tofu and collapse when it encounters the corrosive liquid, and those who hide in it, there is no doubt that people will die, because the corroded space will become a 360-degree weapon without dead ends, and the infection will corrode everything in your own space. So when the interstellar iron beetle really wants to spray corrosive liquid, it's best not to hide in any space. Between those flashing strong magnetic storms, suddenly a black bug as huge as a praying mantis flashed past. What others saw was just a black shadow, but Xiao Fan clearly saw the whole picture of the interstellar iron beetle. Xiao Fan made a fighting action subconsciously. He took out a spear from his supernatural space. This spear was brought back from the apocalypse together with his supernatural space. Made of leg bones, only such a weapon can kill star iron beetles, and all the original weapons on this planet are ineffective against the interstellar iron beetle. Xiao Fan didn't even think about it, and instinctively threw the black spear in his hand at the interstellar iron beetle that flashed in the air. This interstellar iron beetle never expected that it would encounter an attack at this time, and it was an attack by a person with powerful combat abilities. The spear that attacked it was a deadly weapon that would kill him. Xiao Fan used all his strength in this throw. Fast, ruthless and accurate. Puff! The black spear pierced through the interstellar iron beetle in the sky. Its huge body was suddenly fatally injured, and it fell from the sky and died. But before it fell to the ground, even a long distance from the ground, its corpse was taken into a supernatural space by Xiao Fan. With the death of the interstellar iron beetle, those flashing magnetic storms also exploded in an instant, as gorgeous and beautiful as fireworks. Some people on the ground took out their mobile phones and started taking pictures. They all wanted to record this strange scene with their mobile phones, but there are also some people who sensed something was wrong and couldn't help talking with their companions. Did you see it just now? It seems that something black fell from the sky, but it disappeared soon. Could it be that my eyes were dazzled and I misread it? I wonder if you saw it. I seemed to see it too, but the speed was too fast. I really didn't see what kind of thing it was. I just felt a big black thing. Is it a drone? Maybe the fireworks we see now are fragments of the drone explosion. It's really possible. The black drone must be very cool. Wow, what a pity. It just exploded in the air. I don't know how much money will be lost. Xiao Fan turned a blind eye to the comments of the people around him. He still looked at the sky very nervously, but there was no disk storm again. As the sun sets, the sky is quiet and beautiful again. The crowd who stopped on the street also began to slowly disperse. Xiao Fan couldn't help thinking, is there only one interstellar iron beetle? Why does it appear here? Is it a spy of the interstellar iron beetle? Xiao Fan watched for a long time to confirm that there were no other interstellar iron beetles about to leave. Suddenly, an important news was broadcast on the giant screen TV on the outer wall of a building. According to the latest news from our station, the northern suburbs, a residential building collapsed suddenly in a residential area. Due to uncontrollable and non-human factors at the collapse site, rescue is temporarily impossible. Xiao Fan knew that the entire community might be destroyed. There must be an interstellar iron beetle spraying corrosive liquid and destroying the entire community. There is no way to organize a rescue in such a community. Those corrosive liquids are a huge disaster for all objects on this planet. Objects that have been corroded cannot be touched within 72 hours. As long as you touch them a little, they will be corroded. But these leftovers after corrosion will become the best nourishment for the interstellar iron beetle to hatch its offspring eggs. In fact, those interstellar iron beetles did not come to this planet to slaughter aimlessly, but to regard this planet as the incubation base for their offspring, and regard everything on this planet as nourishment for their children, of course including all humans on this planet. Xiao Fan got into his car and was about to consider whether to go to the area where the incident occurred and kill the interstellar iron beetle that caused the killing. But he heard a voice, a very hoarse sound like a terrible noise made by metal friction, but Xiao Fan heard every word very clearly. Humans, you are really terrifying, beyond the expectations of my lover and me. We came to this planet to investigate for a few days, And when we thought this planet belonged to the lowest civilization planet, we did not expect that you would appeared, and had the ability to fight against us, and killed my lover. It really surprised me." Xiao Fan was taken aback. Could it be another interstellar iron beetle talking to him? But he remembered very clearly that he had fought against the interstellar iron beetles for 50 years, and none of the interstellar iron beetles had ever communicated with him. "Humans, don't think that you are very surprised when you hear my words. In fact, compared to you, we are at a higher level of civilization. It is you who are really barbaric, not us. We are more capable of learning, as long as if I kill you, I can gain all the language talents and abilities of the killed, so you don't need to be shocked to communicate with you like this." Xiao Fan understood. It turns out that the interstellar iron beetle can plunder the wisdom and knowledge of the killed person through the corrosive liquid it sprays out. "Humans, because your civilization is too low level, we didn't intend to have any communication with you. But your appearance has changed my original thinking. You have the ability to fight us, and you also have the strength to have a dialogue with us. That's why I killed some people and plundered their language knowledge to communicate with you." Xiao Fan suddenly realized that the last time the iron beetles only fought with themselves and did not communicate with themselves, they had positioned themselves as low-level creatures from the very beginning and were not worthy of communicating with them. Although they have the ability to kill them later, they are still inferior creatures in their eyes. Chapter 18 Ambushed. Xiao Fan asked, "You shouldn't have come to our planet, humans. You are wrong, you are too shallow. What you pay attention to on your planet is evolution, and the whole universe is also evolution. We destroy all of you just to create a more advanced civilization, that is, to multiply our offspring. This is in line with the law of evolution, so we should come." Xiao Fan sneered, "Then the battle between us is inevitable. Human, you don't have to be so stubborn at all. I have a very good suggestion here. I wonder if you would like to listen to it." "Say it." "Why don't you submit to us and keep you alive when our army arrives? You can also put forward some conditions, as long as they are not excessive, we can accept them all." "It's really ridiculous. You guys are thinking of buying me. What's so ridiculous about this? I said that we are more advanced and wise than you. Of course, we can choose the way that is most beneficial to us to treat you. It is more in our interest to buy you." "Why not? Then you are so insincere, I can't even see you. How can I believe that what you said is true or false?" "Human, I feel the killing intent from your words. Goodbye. Our negotiation is over for the time being. I will give you a few days to seriously think about my words. When I see you again, if you can't give me a satisfactory answer, there is only one dead end." The disturbing sound of the iron beetle finally disappeared, and Xiao Fan couldn't help but sneer in his heart. This damned bug is still playing tricks on me. Now he knows that he is obviously incapable of killing himself, but he said that he will give himself a few days to think. Obviously he will use these few days to wait for his reinforcements. Xiao Fan is not in a hurry about this. With the arrival of the interstellar iron beetle, the end of the world is inevitable. He knows that he has no way to stop it. He also needs these few days to hurry up and stock up. Xiao Fan drove directly to Zishan Villa, where the beautiful star Yang Kun was waiting for him. Arriving at the villa, Xiao Fan went directly into the underground garage of the villa, and felt something was wrong as soon as he got out of the car. He has been fighting in the apocalypse for 50 years, and he has long developed a strong sensitivity to any danger. He clearly feels that there are several pairs of eyes watching him from the corner in the garage, and they are all very hostile to him. Xiao Fan was startled. What's going on? Only Yang Kun knew that he was coming here today. Did Yang Kun want his own life? But this logic doesn't make sense. There is no reason why she would do this. Could it be that Yang Kun is also in danger? But I don't know if Yang Kun has hurt him, or if his own eyes have hurt Yang Kun. Xiao Fan got out of the car and clapped his hands. All the voice-activated lights in the underground garage turned on, and suddenly the underground garage was as bright as day. Xiao Fan sneered and said, "Come out, everyone, you know I'm here, and I know you're here too. There's no need to hide, let's come out and talk." But no one came out. Xiao Fan continued, "I'm not lying to you, I feel a total of 6 people are here. I don't know if this number is right." Suddenly, a sneer sounded from a corner, and a sullen middle-aged man's voice sounded, "I really didn't expect Mr. Xiao to have such abilities. It seems that I underestimated Mr. Xiao." As these words were spoken, 6 people flashed out from different corners. They were all masked men. All of them could hold weapons in their hands, including short knives and short guns. Xiao Fan asked, "Everyone, I really don't understand how you found this place. And what grievances do I have with you? Can you let me understand? The thin middle-aged man who spoke just now said. Mr. Xiao, don't have any misunderstandings. There is no enmity between us. We came to see Mr. Xiao today just to ask for money and not to hurt people. Of course, the prerequisite is Mr. Xiao can cooperate well with us and agree to our request. Xiao Fan asked in confusion. You want to rob? The middle-aged man shook his head and replied. How much money can we rob? We are not interested in doing that. I heard that Mr. Xiao is currently exchanging the company's excellent assets for various living supplies. To be honest, we are very greedy. I also want to exchange. Especially the property management company of the Xiao group. We brothers are very greedy. We want it. Xiao Fan understood that the group of bastards in front of him wanted to use this method to plunder the assets from himself. But Xiao Fan also understands that once these guys achieve their goal, they will definitely not let him go, and they will kill them to silence them. Otherwise, they are forcing themselves to sign the contract, but as long as they are still alive, their contract has no meaning, so they must kill themselves after letting themselves sign the contract. It seems that people really die for money, and birds die for food. If it was only because of himself, Xiao Fan could kill them all right now, silently, but there is another Yang Can. He can't ignore his lover. Xiao Fan said with a smile. It turns out that this is the matter. There is no problem with this. Don't you just want to get the property company of my Xiao group? You can take it, and I will cooperate with you. But you must also let me know where Yankin is first. The middle-aged man smiled and said, Mr. Xiao, it really is the woman who cares about me the most. It seems that we have hit the spotlight by starting with Mr. Xiao's woman, the middle-aged man said triumphantly, as if he already had the chance to win. Xiao Fan didn't speak, just watched him perform. Because Xiao Fan knew that he didn't need to ask, he would continue to talk. Sure enough, the middle-aged man continued triumphantly. Mr. Xiao, don't worry, we haven't moved your woman. We have prepared a contract for you here. As long as you sign the contract and press your fingerprints, you will see the frisky star Miss Yankin soon. Xiao Fan sneered. Do you really think I'm stupid? You want me to agree to your terms without meeting people first? Do you think this is possible? If you want me to cooperate with you, you must let me meet people first, otherwise, nothing will be discussed. This is my principle and my bottom line, which cannot be changed. Chapter 19. Too greedy. The middle-aged man thought for a while and said, Since Mr. Xiao is so devoted to love and righteousness, then I will let you meet your big star lover. Then he looked at a man on the side. The man nodded and immediately walked to a corner, and then dragged out a sack. It can be seen that there is a person in the sack, but the person in the sack does not move at all. I don't know if it is dead or alive now. Xiao Fan couldn't help being furious. He really didn't want to waste a minute and a second with the 6 people in front of him, so he directly fought. His body just flashed. The 6 people just felt their eyes blur. 4 of them had their necks broken, and the remaining 2 wanted to run. They couldn't have any chance to escape in front of Xiao Fan. One of them just ran 2 steps away when Xiao Fan caught up and broke his neck. Finally, the middle-aged man shouted, Mr. Xiao, please don't kill me. After you kill me, you don't know who made me do it behind the scenes. When Xiao Fan heard this, he immediately stopped. There was someone behind the scenes, so Xiao Fan couldn't let it go. Although this guy still had a gun in his hand, he was too scared to hold it anymore, and the gun fell to the ground with a bang. He also collapsed on the ground, feeling like he had been locked in the gate of hell. If he had known that Xiao Fan was so powerful, even if he had given him 10,000 guts, he would never have dared to seek Xiao Fan's misfortune. Xiao Fan stared at him coldly and asked, Tell me who it is. The middle-aged man was still trying to bargain, and said, Mr. Xiao, if I tell you who ordered me to do this behind my back, can you let me go? I promise to disappear forever before your eyes. Everything that happened today, I won't tell anyone. Xiao Fan sneered. Do you still have the strength to bargain with me now? Tell me everything you know, maybe I'll let you go. Hearing Xiao Fan's words, the middle-aged man knew that he could only gamble if he wanted to survive, so he said, It was Chen Long, the president of your Xiao Group Property Management Company, who hired us to do this. Xiao Fan nodded, and the next moment his neck was broken. Xiao Fan put their corpses into the supernatural space and put them away separately. This Chen Long really wanted to die. It seemed that he was more greedy. He didn't want to get a bonus, but wanted to swallow the entire property management company. I really want to die. Xiao Fan came to the sack, bent down to untie the sack, and dragged out Yang Can, who is already unconscious. The snort should just be fainted, but he still hasn't woken up yet, probably because he was drug dizzy. Xiao Fan originally wanted to catch up with his old lover, but now that he is being calculated by his subordinates, he has no mood at all. He carried Yang Can to the back seat of his car, let her continue to sleep, and then drove away, leaving Zishan Villa, go to Chenlong to settle accounts. Xiao Fan came back from the end of the world. The most intolerable thing is being tricked by others, so anyone who plots against him will be revenged by him with the cruelest means. There is no possibility of escape, and in the office of the president of Xiao's group property company where Chenlong lived, Chenlong was lying on the lap of a beautiful young woman. His eyes were slightly closed, and the beautiful young woman was massaging his temples. Chenlong suddenly said, "Don't press it anymore, I'm a little upset." The beautiful young woman smiled and said, "Honey, do you feel uneasy? I don't think it is necessary. Risk and benefit are always proportional. We want to take this property company into our own hands and take some risks. It's necessary, don't worry, my big brother and they are all very reliable people, there won't be any accidents." Chenlong opened his eyes and said, "But I don't know why I always feel uneasy in my heart, up and down, as if something bad is going to happen. Why don't you call your big brother now and ask him what's going on there?" The beautiful young woman smiled and said, You haven't done anything bad. That's why you're so uneasy, but you can't disturb my big brothers right now. In case a phone call disturbs our plan and disrupts their actions, then it will ruin our event." Chenlong sighed, "But I regret it a little now. Why not get a bonus of hundreds of millions, which is still enough for us to live happily for a lifetime?" The beautiful young woman snorted, "Chenlong, can you have some ambition? The bonus of hundreds of millions will be consumed by us soon. And this property company is a hen that can lay golden eggs. 1 billion yuan, and the annual profit is even more impressive? Of course we want to get the property company in our hands. What do we want those hundreds of millions of bonuses for?" Just as Chenlong was about to say something, the door of the office was suddenly pushed open. He jumped up from the sofa in a hurry. The door of his own office was locked, but it was pushed open. Who has such strength? He saw Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan walked into the office with a smile, and then closed the door of the office. Chenlong knew that something was wrong. The beautiful young woman was shocked when she first saw Xiao Fan, but she quickly calmed down and just stared at Xiao Fan very calmly. Chenlong stammered and said, "Xiao, Mr. Xiao, why didn't you say hello in advance, so that I can go to meet you?" Xiao Fan sneered and said, "Chenlong, are you going to welcome me? It really surprised me. What kind of method do you plan to use to welcome me? Will you welcome my dead body, or welcome the contract I signed? Let you get this real estate company smoothly." Chenlong replied in horror, "President Xiao, is there some misunderstanding here? I can't understand anything you said. I don't understand what you are talking about." At this time, it was the beautiful young woman who looked calmer. She looked at Chenlong coldly and said, "What's the point of saying this at this time? But you seem to be even more useless, not like a man. Since he can stand in front of us and prove that he knows everything, there is no need to play with him." Chenlong was speechless. The beautiful young woman looked at Xiao Fan and asked coldly, "That's right, we did this thing, what can you do to us? Where are my big brothers now?" Xiao Fan sneered and said, "Who are you, stinky woman? I was very surprised by how ruthless you are. Wait a minute and I will definitely let you know what a real man is." Chapter 20 An unexpected encounter with an old person in the end times. She sneered and said, "You thought you were in control of everything, but you were so self-righteous that you ran here to die the first time. Then I will satisfy you." Xiao Fan sneered and said nothing. The beautiful young woman continued, "My big brother, did they not get the contract you signed? If you want to die comfortably, just follow what I said, and I will prepare another contract for you and sign you. Put your handprint on your name. I promise you will die comfortably, otherwise I will make your life worse than death." Xiao Fan sneered, "Let's see if you're fast enough." Xiao Fan stood there without moving. The beautiful young woman just felt her hand loosen the gun, and the gun in her hand was gone. Xiao Fan just had a thought, and put the gun in her hand into her supernatural space. The beautiful young woman is dumbfounded. She has never seen anything like this, except in movies and TV of course. She was really terrified this time. She looked at Xiao Fan with eyes full of fear, then knelt down with a plop, and begged, "President Xiao, it was all my fault before. I apologize to you. I will never dare again. As long as you let me go this time, you can ask me to do anything. You see I have a beautiful body and a perfect body. I will definitely satisfy all your requirements. Xiao Fan didn't even look at the beautiful young woman kneeling on the ground, but looked at Qianlong, who was stunned. The next second, Xiao Fan was in front of Qianlong, and only heard a click, and Qianlong's neck was rotated 360 degrees by Xiao Fan click. Xiao Fan died without a sound, and his body disappeared in the next second. Seeing this weird scene in front of her, the beautiful young woman began to tremble all over. Xiao Fan squatted down, raised her chin and asked, I really never thought that you would instigate Qianlong to betray me. What I hate the most is being tricked by others, especially by women. The beautiful young woman begged tremblingly, as long as Mr. Xiao can let me go this time, I will never dare again. From now on, I will be Mr. Xiao's dog and Mr. Xiao's horse. Mr. Xiao can do whatever he wants. Xiao Fan sneered, but you are really pretty and have a good figure. The beautiful young woman couldn't help but feel happy when she heard Xiao Fan's words. It seems that her beauty will save her once, but Xiao Fan continued, but you are a slut who was beaten to death by Qianlong, so I have no interest in you. I will send you to meet Qianlong, so that you can reunite underground. The beautiful young woman shouted, President Xiao, please don't kill me. As long as you don't kill me, I can tell you a very, very important news. Xiao Fan asked curiously, then tell me, do you have any important news to tell me? Maybe the news you said can arouse my interest, so I can spare your life. The beautiful young woman hurriedly said, actually, Qianlong contacted a quick frozen food company. This company has a large amount of inventory, and this company is willing to exchange all their inventory for the shares of the property management company. As long as Mr. Xiao can spare me this time, I will guarantee to thread the needle and get this deal done quickly. Xiao Fan sneered, tell me which company it is. The beautiful young woman shook her head and replied, Mr. Xiao will only tell Mr. Xiao all the news after he promises me not to kill me. And I will be Mr. Xiao's person in the future, and Mr. Xiao can do whatever he asks me to do. Maybe I am no longer pure, but I am enough of a wild wolf, which is also a different flavor. Is Mr. Xiao really unwilling to try it? Click. The neck of the beautiful young woman was also rotated 360 degrees, and she died. Xiao Fan found her mobile phone, then used her face to unlock her mobile phone, pulled out all the call records, and found one of the call records, Mr. Zhang of Xi'an Frozen Food Company. Xiao Fan also put away her body. This woman is so self-righteous, she thinks that she can blackmail Xiao Fan with such a piece of news. It is unreasonable. Xiao Fan misses women a little bit. He is not a gentleman, but there are some women he refuses to touch, such as the woman in front of him who schemed against him. She is rotten and mean. She would feel disgusting just by looking at her. How could Xiao Fan touch her? She was so shameless that she thought she was very attractive. It was just a joke. Xiao Fan dialed Zhang Zhuang of the Frozen Food Company. Mr. Zhang, hello, I'm Xiao Fan from the Xiao Group. Mr. Xiao, hello. I never expected Mr. Xiao to call me personally. I feel very honored. Mr. Zhang, Qianlong has already told me what you mean, but I don't know how many stocks Mr. Zhang has, and how many shares of my property company do you want to exchange? My company's inventory is huge, worth more than 2 billion yuan. I want to exchange 60% of the property management company's shares. I don't know what Mr. Xiao thinks. Mr. Zhang, I think we should meet and talk. I'll stop by your company to see how much inventory you have. There is no problem with this. Mr. Xiao is always welcome. Then let's not delay any time. I'll go there now. How about it? No problem. I'll work overtime and wait for Mr. Xiao to come. After Xiao Fan finished talking with Mr. Zhang, he decided to rush to his company immediately. After all, such a batch of inventory will be of great use to Xiao Fan in the apocalypse. If this batch of supplies can be pushed down, it will be much more convenient than directly stockpiling food. So Xiao Fan decided to go to see Mr. Zhang immediately, and return to his car. Xiao Fan saw that Yankin in the back seat of the car was still asleep, so Xiao Fan didn't bother her and continued to let her rest. About an hour and a half later, Xiao Fan came to Xi'an Quick Frozen Food Company, and then contacted Mr. Zhang by phone. Mr. Zhang went out to greet him very enthusiastically, accompanied by a young and beautiful girl. When Xiao Fan saw this girl, he was petrified at the first sight, and his mind went blank. He really never expected to meet her today. Mr. Zhang walked to Xiao Fan's side with a smile, and stretched out his right hand to shake hands with Xiao Fan, but Xiao Fan didn't respond at all, and just stared at the girl next to him without blinking. Only then did Mr. Zhang feel that something was wrong with Xiao Fan. and he withdrew his hand with great displeasure and said, "Mr. Xiao, let me introduce you. This is my daughter Zhang Weilan, who is also my secretary and assistant." Xiao Fan still didn't make any response. His thoughts flew back to that battle in the last days. Chapter 21 Out of Control. But Xiao Fan was seriously injured and was rescued by Zhang Weilan when he was about to lose consciousness. At that time, Zhang Weilan hadn't awakened her abilities. She was still an ordinary beautiful girl. She took Xiao Fan back to her shelter and took good care of her all the time. After a period of recuperation, Xiao Fan finally recovered. They fell in love just like that, and everything that happened next was smooth and sweet. The two of them were like glue, and the love between them was so sweet. But Xiao Fan made a decision at that time that made him regret when thinking of animals now. He wanted to help Zhang Weilan awaken his abilities. Xiao Fan also knew at the time that not everyone could awaken their abilities. If they failed to awaken their abilities, they would face extremely cruel consequences, even death. But Xiao Fan is stubbornly confident that she can handle all emergencies. Zhang Weilan also told Xiao Fan at the time that it was not that she had no chance to awaken her supernatural power before, but she gave up due to lack of confidence. At that time, she looked at Xiao Fan and asked very seriously, "Is my awakening ability really that important to you?" Xiao Fan couldn't tell what he was thinking at the time. Maybe he really thought that the awakening ability was the best result for Zhang Weilan, but he nodded his head unexpectedly. Just because of his statement, Zhang Weilan decided to risk his life to awaken his abilities. But now that Xiao Fan thinks about his decision at that time, he really understands that he was too selfish at that time. He wanted Zhang Weilan to awaken his power, so that the two of them could be better together, but he didn't consider that Zhang Weilan might die or happen accident. Xiao Fan thought he was fully prepared at the time, and began to prepare Zhang Weilan to awaken his abilities. But in the process of Zhang Weilan's awakening of supernatural powers, what happened was beyond Xiao Fan's control. Zhang Weilan did not die, but had a very serious side effect. Zhang Weilan grew a black armor. If it is purely from the perspective of the awakening of abilities, it is not a failure, and it is even very successful. But from the perspective of a beautiful girl, it was too cruel, and turned into a monster who was neither human nor ghost. At that time, Zhang Weilan, who was in despair, chose to escaped from Xiao Fan, and finally encountered the interstellar iron beetle. The two sides had a tragic battle, and Zhang Weilan died in battle. Zhang Weilan's death is a pain that Xiao Fan still broods on and cannot forget how much he loves the girl in front of him, how guilty he is to her, how sorry he is to her. No one can understand. Now that he unexpectedly saw her, Xiao Fan couldn't control the accumulation of nearly 50 years of feelings anymore. He rushed to Zhang Weilan and hugged her tightly, as if he wanted to melt the girl in his arms into his body. Push hard, for fear that if I let go this time, I will lose this girl again forever. Zhang Weilan was completely stunned. She really didn't expect Xiao Fan to be so bold, to do such a thing to herself in front of her father. Xiao Fan murmured to himself, "Weilan, I'm really sorry. It was all my fault before. It was all my selfishness. It was all my fault for hurting you. This time I can't lose you no matter what. No matter what price I pay, I will never lose you again. Since God arranged for us to meet again, I will definitely cherish you, Mr. Zhang at the side was completely confused at first, but then he came to his senses and became furious. Out of a father's instinct to protect his daughter, he punched Xiao Fan on the cheek with an old punch. Mr. Zhang is also less than 50 years old, which is when he is strong, not to mention that he often works out, and his strength is still very strong. With this punch, he thought he could throw Xiao Fan to the side, but when his fist hit Xiao Fan's cheek, he realized how wrong he was. It was like hitting a rock. He couldn't help crying out in pain. He couldn't lift his right hand anymore. This is Xiao Fan's awakened ability automatically protecting him. Zhang Weilan struggled desperately and shouted, "Mr. Xiao, did you recognize the wrong person? We met for the first time, and I have never had any relationship with you. Please let me go." Zhang Weilan's yell instantly made the emotional Xiao Fan regain his senses, and hurriedly let go of Zhang Weilan. Couldn't help but blame himself. He was too emotional to do such an outrageous thing. I don't know if he scared himself. Beloved girl, she was reborn and traveled back, but Zhang Weilan was not. I know her, but she doesn't know me. If you scare her, it will make her misunderstand and screw everything up. Thinking of this, Xiao Fan hastily said apologetically, "Weilan, no, Ms. Zhang, I'm really sorry for admitting the wrong person. You and my ex-girlfriend are so much alike. They're almost the same. I'm a little out of control. I'm really sorry." I hope you can forgive my rashness this time. Don't take it to heart. I sincerely apologize to you. But Zhang Weilin became more and more confused the more he listened. He didn't know why he was offended by the man in front of him, but he didn't feel angry. On the contrary, this man had a special temperament that attracted him. What puzzled her even more was that the man apologized to herself and said that he had admitted the wrong person, but he kept calling out his name all the time. What's more, with the expression on his face and the look in his eyes at this time, he clearly didn't recognize the wrong person. But why I never have any memory about this man, what is going on? At this time, Mr. Zhang said, Mr. Xiao, I hope you can control your emotions well. Since you have admitted the wrong person and you have apologized, I don't mind this time. But I don't want it to happen again. Such a thing, Xiao Fan hurriedly replied, Mr. Zhang, I'm really sorry. I promise it won't happen again, because Ms. Zhang and my ex-girlfriend are indeed too similar, they are almost the same person. I really didn't have any control your emotions, and I also apologize to you, Mr. Zhang said. Since it was a misunderstanding, then I will forgive Mr. Xiao. Let's go to my office. Xiao Fan hurriedly expressed his thanks, but Zhang Weilin was even more puzzled. The man's eyes looked at her intentionally or unintentionally. They were full of affection and warmth. Words can be deceiving, but eyes can't be deceiving. Did you really have nothing to do with him? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22: The Doubt of the Lover in the End Times. Zhang Weilin poured water for Xiao Fan, and the three of them sat down as guests of honor. Mr. Zhang first said, Mr. Xiao, to be honest, I am a little tired of working in the field of frozen food. I'm not familiar with other fields, so I've always been undecided. I didn't expect Mr. Xiao to give me such a good opportunity this time, a fully mature company for me to choose from, so I want to seize this opportunity, Xiao Fan said with a smile. Mr. Zhang, since you are so interested, there is no obstacle to our cooperation. Although Mr. Zhang can express all his thoughts, we can fully exchange opinions. Mr. Zhang laughed and said, I can use my inventory worth 2 billion yuan to exchange 60% of your company's shares. That is, I want to obtain an absolute controlling stake in your property management company. Of course, if Mr. Xiao thinks this amount is not enough, I can let my company seize the time to work overtime for production. Xiao Fan looked at Zhang Weilin, who hurriedly lowered her head. Xiao Fan laughed. Mr. Zhang really decided to do this? Mr. Zhang nodded and replied, I have decided to do this. Although the time is relatively short, it is a decision after careful consideration. I just don't know what Mr. Xiao thinks, Xiao Fan said with a smile. There is no problem at all. Mr. Zhang seized the time to produce fast food. As for the management rights and 100% shares of the property company, all of them are handed over to Mr. Zhang. Xiao Fan couldn't help but think, I didn't cheat you deliberately, my father-in-law. In fact, I did this out of filial piety, to make you happy for as long as you can. Zhang Weilin suddenly raised her head to look at Xiao Fan, and Xiao Fan was also looking at her at this time, and the two looked at each other without avoiding each other's gaze. Zhang Weilin said seriously, Mr. Xiao, you must consider your decision carefully, and don't influence your decision because of other factors. After all, this is not a trivial matter, but involves billions or even tens of billions of days. A transaction of funds. Xiao Fan was very happy when he heard Zhang Weilin's words. His woman was still on his side, reminding himself not to suffer. How happy he is to have such a woman by his side. Mr. Zhang looked at his daughter strangely, and thought to himself, what do you mean, little girl? Your father, I am just a child like you. No matter how much property I earn in the future, it will still be yours in the end. You even turned my elbow outward. Xiao Fan smiled and said, Weilin, don't worry, I'm telling the truth, I'm not joking. I really plan to hand over all the property management companies of the Xiao Group to Mr. Zhang to manage them. Zhang Weilin said again, but why do you want so many speed food? Do you have a market? Otherwise, once those quick frozen food expires, you will lose everything. The more Mr. Zhang listened to it, the more uncomfortable he felt in his heart. It's really a girl who doesn't want to stay, he hurriedly said. It doesn't matter, Can we sell the channel to Mr. Xiao? Xiao Fan looked at his father-in-law's depressed expression, and felt funny in his heart. His daughter didn't help him, and even made trouble for him. No wonder he wasn't depressed. Xiao Fan said happily, Weilin, these things will not be wasted in my hands. I have a way to store them. And I don't plan to sell them. As soon as Xiao Fan said this, Mr. Zhang was taken aback. This guy doesn't even sell? Keep it all for yourself? This is enough to eat 18 generations and can't finish it. He couldn't help asking, Mr. Xiao, are you kidding me? Xiao Fan replied with a smile, Mr. Zhang, I am very serious. Do you think I am joking? If Mr. Zhang is willing, we can even sign the contract now. Mr. Zhang looked at his daughter with great joy. He originally wanted her to prepare the contract, but after thinking about her daughter's performance just now, he immediately dismissed the idea. Just now his daughter acted too much, and he was very worried about entrusting this important matter to his daughter, but knowing that a single word in a contract clause can change many things and determine the attribution of huge benefits, so he decided to handle this matter himself. So Mr. Zhang said, then Mr. Xiao, please wait for a while, I will prepare the contract now, and I will be back soon. He glanced at his daughter again, and felt that the guy in front of him had bad intentions for his daughter, and he didn't know why his daughter didn't hate her. So he felt that leaving his daughter alone with Xiao Fan was not putting the meat away into the wolf's mouth. So Mr. Zhang said to his daughter, Weilin, why don't you come over and accompany me to sort out the contract? It will be faster. Zhang Weilin nodded. Xiao Fan didn't say anything. He also saw that his father-in-law was very wary of him, and he was worried about his daughter, so he made such an arrangement. But at this moment, Zhang Weilin said something that changed her father's mind. She said, or else here, let's discuss and draw up the terms of the contract with Mr. Xiao. Mr. Zhang looked at his daughter with hatred, and couldn't help but think in his heart that letting this girl follow him would definitely cause trouble for him, so he might as well do it by himself, and simply let this girl accompany Xiao Fan, just for a while. Nothing big can happen, so he said, Mr. Xiao is a customer and came to our company without any trouble. How can you trouble Mr. Xiao kindly with this matter? Why don't you stay here with Mr. Xiao, and I'll do it myself? Zhang Weilin nodded. Xiao Fan was overjoyed, secretly thinking that this is the opportunity you gave me, don't regret it. Mr. Zhang left his office and went to work out the terms of the contract, because there must be some terms in the process of making the contract, and he had to repeatedly discuss with his subordinates what was best for him, so Xiao Fan definitely couldn't stay by the side. Xiao Fan looked at Zhang Weilin. Zhang Weilin lowered his head again. Xiao Fan couldn't help asking, Weilin, do you help your father get tired? This is absolutely nothing to say. Zhang Weilin shook her head slightly and replied, it's not that I'm tired, and I'm usually not too busy. Just as Xiao Fan was about to start the next topic, Zhang Weilin suddenly asked, Mr. Xiao, can you tell me the truth? Is this the first time you have seen me today? Why are you so familiar and kind to me? This makes me feel very strange. Of course, if Mr. Xiao is inconvenient to say it, then forget it. Chapter 23 The Petrified Beauty. Because he didn't know how to answer this question. The woman who asked this question was his favorite woman, and also the woman he was most guilty of and sorry for. He didn't want to deceive her from the principle of following his heart, but is it really good to tell her the truth? Nothing more than increasing her stress and fear, and nothing will change. What's more, is it really okay for her to know her tragic fate last time? Will it still have a huge negative impact on her psychology this time? Xiao Fan finally made up his mind not to tell the truth. He barely said calmly, Weilin, I don't know if you believe in fate or not, but I really believe in fate. Even though we met for the first time, my heart tells me that my fate has arrived. You are the girl I've been waiting for, is also my true wife. Zhang Weilin blushed but said, although I don't hate you talking like this, but I can feel that you seem to be lying to me. Xiao Fan's heart sank when he heard Zhang Weilin's words. His lie was really not very clever, but Zhang Weilin said again, if you really don't want to say it, forget it, don't lie to me again. I just asked you a question, how did you know my name? Xiao Fan pretended to have a helpless expression and said, in this case, I will tell the truth. I also know that my lie just now can't even deceive myself. In fact, I have always been in love with you secretly. There are many things about you. I know everything about it, and I have also followed you secretly, but the method is very clever and you have not discovered it. Zhang Weilin looked up at Xiao Fan in surprise and said, I still don't believe it. Xiao Fan smiled and said, Then let me say something to verify whether what I said is true or not. I don't know if you mind. Zhang Weilan shook her head slightly, but didn't speak. Xiao Fan said seriously, if I'm not wrong, you are 22 years and 16 days old this year, and I also know that you don't like to eat birthday cakes for your birthday. What you like most is the longevity cake made by your mother Noodle. Zhang Weilan stared at Xiao Fan in disbelief, because what Xiao Fan said was completely correct and there was no mistake at all. She indeed had her birthday just 16 days ago, and what she ate was longevity noodles made by her mother herself, instead of a birthday cake. Xiao Fan continued, I also know that your blood type is type E, and I also know some of your special personality. You are very afraid of bugs, but you are not afraid of snakes. It is really rare to have such a special personality like you. Zhang Weilan stared at Xiao Fan unblinkingly with her beautiful eyes. The man in front of her knew her better than she knew. How did he know this? It's just that my parents didn't pay too much attention to these. Xiao Fan continued, I also know a little secret of yours. If I tell you, you are not allowed to call me a hooligan. Zhang Weilan nodded instinctively and said, tell me, I won't call you a hooligan. Xiao Fan said in a low voice, there is a heart-shaped red birthmark next to your place, right? I thought it was a tattoo at the time, but later I found out that it is actually a birthmark. Natural. Zhang Weilan's pretty face blushed like a ripe red apple. She asked in a mosquito-like voice, can you tell me how on earth you know all this? I really want to know. Xiao Fan laughed and said, don't you believe I'm a stalker by now? Zhang Weilan shook her head firmly and replied, even if you are following me. It is impossible to know these secrets, and it is even more impossible to know what I am afraid of, what I am not afraid of. What do I like and what do I dislike? These are my own little secrets. How did you know? You know me better than my parents. Not to mention, how did you know about my birthmark? Speaking of her birthmark, Zhang Weilan's face, which was like a red apple, turned even redder. Xiao Fan said with a smile, there are some things I can't tell you right away, but if you believe me, can you stay by my side for the next few days, and then I will let you know what will happen between us. What kind of story? Zhang Weilan shook her head resolutely and replied, I don't know why I feel so wonderful about you. I don't hate every word you say. Even if you invite me to be by your side, I can promise. But if you don't tell me the truth, I won't agree, and I won't be by your side. Maybe my feelings for you are inexplicable, but I absolutely can't just be by your side inexplicably. There's a valid reason. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to convince myself and feel like a random girl. Xiao Fan thought for a while and said, if you really want to know the reason, I can tell you, but you must keep it a secret from me. Zhang Weilan stared into Xiao Fan's eyes very seriously for a long time, and finally said, as long as you are not lying to me, as long as you tell me the truth, no matter what you tell me, I will not tell anyone, including my parents. Xiao Fan nodded and said seriously, actually, I am a supernatural person. I have the ability to surpass ordinary people, so the first time I saw you, I knew that there must be a story in our future. Just because our future will happen story, that's why I know all your little secrets. Zhang Weilan opened his mouth wide, looking unbelievable. Xiao Fan asked with a smile, do you still don't believe what I said? Think I'm still deceiving you? If I tell you, I'm telling the truth and not deceiving you. Do you believe it or not? Zhang Weilan shook her head and replied, but my heart tells me that you are deceiving me. I don't believe what you said. You never told me the truth. Xiao Fan looked at the water glass next to Zhang Weilan and said, but I really didn't lie to you this time, and I also know that you don't believe what I said. To prove that everything I said is true, I will tell you now, prove that I am really a supernatural person. I hope you don't startle other people by screaming. Can you do it? Zhang Weilan nodded and said, I will never yell. Xiao Fan said with satisfaction, take care of your own water glass and don't lose it. When Zhang Weilan heard Xiao Fan's words, she looked at her water glass, and the next moment she was petrified, because her water glass disappeared out of thin air under her gaze, and Xiao Fan didn't even move while sitting next to her. How Xiao Fan made her water glass disappear is far beyond her cognition. Chapter 24. Xiao Fan decided to start hoarding people. It took Zhang Weilan a long time to calm down, looked at Xiao Fan and asked, is what I saw just now real or magic? Xiao Fan smiled slightly and said, you are looking around us. Zhang Weilan looked around when she heard the words. Every time she saw an item in the office, that item would disappear out of thin air, until everything in the office disappeared, only the sofa where she and Xiao Fan were sitting. Xiao Fan laughed. Do you still think it's a magic trick now? Zhang Weilin shook her head and replied, "Now I really believe that you are a supernatural being." Just after she finished speaking, those things that disappeared out of thin air reappeared in their original positions. Xiao Fan confessed seriously, "I don't want anyone to know that I have this ability, so it's okay not to tell anyone." Zhang Weilin nodded and said, "Don't worry, I will never tell anyone, even my parents, and I will never tell them either." Xiao Fan asked expectantly, "I let you know the answer now, can you agree to my previous conditions? Stay by my side for the next few days, I want to guard you and protect you." Zhang Weilin asked, "I can promise you, but my father won't agree." Xiao Fan smiled confidently, "You don't have to worry about this at all. I will tell your father later. In order for your father to control the property company smoothly, the two of us need to meet frequently to discuss the specific details." Zhang Weilin nodded and said, "As long as you convince my father, I will be by your side." Now she believes in every word Xiao Fan says, because Xiao Fan showed the ability to collect and take out items in the supernatural space. This beauty was completely shocked. Xiao Fan confidently promised, "As long as you are willing, your father's side will be on my body. There will never be any accidents. I will definitely find a way to convince him." Zhang Weilin nodded and asked again, "Can you tell me how you obtained this ability? Is it possible that one day I will also obtain this ability?" In a word, Xiao Fan was pulled into painful memories again. Zhang Weilin actually wanted to awaken her own abilities this time, but the lesson she learned that time was too painful. How should she answer this question? This is not a trivial matter. I can't fool her, let alone deceive her. If you promise to let her awaken the power, you must do it. But if Zhang Weilin really awakens the power, like last time, Zhang Weilin still can't bear it, so the tragedy will happen again. What should I do? But looking at Zhang Weilin looking at him expectantly, he really couldn't bear to refuse her. If he really refused her, the beauty in front of him would be very sad, and he must be very disappointed in himself. Zhang Weilin looked at Xiao Fan without saying a word for a long time, and said disappointedly, "I also know that this is a very embarrassing thing for you. In fact, you don't have to take it to heart. I'm just talking casually. Don't take it too seriously." Xiao Fan gritted his teeth and said, "Weilin, this time I swear to you, you will definitely awaken your abilities, and it is very safe to awaken your abilities. Your abilities will be extremely powerful. I swear to you, I will definitely be able to do it." Zhang Weilin was very pleasantly surprised and asked, "Really?" Xiao Fan nodded very vigorously and replied, "Really, I swear I will do it." The moment Xiao Fan agreed to Zhang Weilin just now, she secretly made up her mind that this time when she was reborn, she should not only hoard supplies, but also hoard some talents, such as some talents who study bioengineering, so that she might be able to awaken her abilities. Conducting in-depth research can avoid Zhang Weilin's side effects when awakening his abilities. Xiao Fan decided to go to the university tomorrow to take a look and try to post his own recruitment notice. He didn't believe that Zhang Weilin's tragic fate last time could not be changed. Even if Zhang Weilin's tragic fate was destined by the heavens last time, this time he will change his fate against the sky. Zhang Weilin was very touched and said, "Mr. Xiao, I really thank you very much. I know that my request is very excessive. I didn't expect that you would actually agree. I am really happy." Xiao Fan smiled and said, "This is what I should do. Even if you don't tell me, I will help you do it. Besides, you think this condition is very difficult, but it is not so difficult for me." "Difficult? As long as you work hard, you can still do it, but I also want you to have a certain amount of patience and don't worry. Give me time to help you awaken your abilities." "Okay," Zhang Weilin nodded and said, "You are so kind. I won't be in a hurry, I will wait patiently. I know this is definitely not a small matter, and it is not something that can be accomplished overnight. I will wait patiently and will not rush you to help me awakening ability. I believe you can do it, it's just a matter of time. I believe in you." Looking at the considerate beauty, Xiao Fan's heart is full of happiness. The beauty in front of him has always been so kind to him, no matter it was last time or this time, especially the last time he not only saved his life, but also gave him such a happy time, which was the most cherished time in the whole apocalypse, so he would never let down the woman in front of him. Xiao Fan couldn't help but stretched out his big hand, held Zhang Weilin's jade hand tightly and said emotionally, "Weilin, there is one more thing that I must explain to you in advance. Maybe you will find out that your father it's actually useless to get my property management company. I hope you don't blame me at that time. I'm not cheating on your father, I'm just making him happy." Zhang Weilin's whole body was tense. She could see that she was very, very nervous, but she didn't withdraw her hand. She nodded and replied, I know you don't have any malice towards me or my father. I can feel it so you can rest assured, no matter what happens in the future, I will not complain about you. Xiao Fan smiled. Completely relieved this time, this was what he was most worried about in the bottom of his heart. After the end of the world came, he found that the property management company he got was useless at all. Zhang Weilin blamed him for this. Xiao Fan couldn't accept it. Zhang Weilin can be so understanding. Xiao Fan is of course very happy. Xiao Fan couldn't help standing up, and hugged Zhang Weilin into her arms. At this moment, the door of the office was pushed open. Chapter 25. It was just an accident. The person who opened the door was also stunned. The person who came was Mr. Zhang. He looked at the scene in front of him in shock. Damn it, just a few minutes after I left, Xiao Fan, you bastard, hooked up my daughter. I thought that no matter how fast you move, you can't be so fast, but now I know that you are a fucking fast shooter. Zhang Weilin was the first to react, and hastily shyly pushed Xiao Fan away, then looked underground and found no cracks to drill, so she ran out directly. Mr. Zhang really wanted to give Xiao Fan another punch, but thinking of the damage that punch had caused him before, Mr. Zhang forcibly endured it. Xiao Fan laughed awkwardly. Uncle has prepared all the terms of the contract, then I will sign it. Mr. Zhang suddenly felt very discouraged. The sense of accomplishment that he had previously overshadowed Xiao Fan suddenly disappeared without a trace. Who the hell is overshadowing whom? If I take care of your company, and you take care of my daughter, maybe in the end I will work for you for nothing, and you will not only take the company back, but also take my company along the way. No matter how you calculate it, it is a loss, and it is still a big loss. The more Mr. Zhang thought about it, the more aggrieved he felt, and he couldn't beat him. In just a few minutes, his daughter was seduced and left. What can he say? So very angry, he slammed the contract he had just printed out on the desk. Xiao Fan turned a blind eye to the face of his future father-in-law, directly picked up a pen, and then signed it with a brush, and very consciously pressed the red handprint by himself. Then Xiao Fan said, Uncle, first check if there is anything you need to add to the contract. If you need to add anything, you can contact me. I will come over and sign with you at any time. Let me take my leave now. I have something to say to Weilin. Say it. After Xiao Fan said goodbye and left, Mr. Zhang looked at the contract. Why, the more he looked at it, the more he got angry. It was a contract that he took advantage of, but now he felt as if he had suffered a huge loss. I have worked so hard to raise a pot of flowers, and even the flower pots have been taken away, and I feel distressed and unwilling, but he also knows that this is fate. What can he say? If he really wants to keep his daughter by his side for the rest of his life, I'm afraid his daughter won't agree. Xiao Fan walked out of Mr. Zhang's office and came outside the office building. Xiao Fan saw Zhang Weilin, who was embarrassed, downstairs. Xiao Fan walked over with a smile and said, Don't be shy anymore. I think your father has agreed to the things between us. At least he has tacitly agreed to a relationship. Zhang Weilin asked unexpectedly, Really or fake? Xiao Fan replied solemnly, I can lie to others, how can I lie to you? Besides, even if I lie to you, I can't lie to you on this matter. After you left the office, your father didn't say anything, not even a word of reproach. I don't have any words. If he didn't acquiesce, could he behave like this to a relationship? Zhang Weilin thought about it very seriously, and thought what Xiao Fan said was very reasonable, but isn't there another explanation? For example, because his father was so angry that he couldn't say a word. Women in love all have a high fever, and men will believe whatever they say, so they don't think about other possibilities at all. In this way, Zhang Weilin fell in love at an unprecedented speed in history, and even thought that her father agreed. She couldn't help showing a sweet smile. What Xiao Fan loves most in the last days is her smile. In order to see this smile again, he swears that he will pay any price in the last days. It's a pity he never realized it again, but this time when he came back from rebirth, his wish came true. Xiao Fan suddenly felt that the world has become extremely beautiful. Even if the end of the world is coming, so what? It still can't stop the beauty of this world. Xiao Fan couldn't help holding Zhang Weilin's hand and said, Aren't we going to celebrate? Why don't we have dinner together? I know a restaurant with delicious food. Zhang Weilin replied shyly, I'll tell my dad first, so that he won't worry. Then Zhang Weilin took out her mobile phone and dialed her father's number. Dad, I'm going to have dinner with Xiao Fan tonight, so I won't go home. You and Mom don't have to wait for me. Mr. Zhang looked confused. Is his daughter crazy? Even if you're hooked up, you can't just go out to dinner so blatantly. Wouldn't it be more appropriate for you to talk to my father first, such as why must it be him? So Mr. Zhang was so angry that he didn't say anything to reproach him. When he was preparing his tone and words, he heard his daughter continue to say, Dad, I won't talk to you anymore. I'm going out, end the call now, Mr. Zhang stared at his mobile phone in a daze, and had an illusion of who I am and where I am. Xiao Fan was very excited and walked towards his car with Zhang Weilan's hand. He completely forgot about the big star Yankin, and the woman who just fell in love only had Xiao Fan in her eyes, so the two of them sat in the driver's seat alone, and sat in the co-pilot's seat alone, completely unaware that there was another person sleeping behind. Two people sat in the front. They chattered endlessly since they sat in the car, as if they couldn't finish talking. The person who fell asleep behind slowly opened his eyes, and then just started to smile stupid. She remembered that just after arriving at the underground garage of Zishan Villa, she lost consciousness inexplicably. How could she be lying in the back seat of the car when she opened her eyes, and there were two people in front of the car chatting and laughing sweetly? Weilan, you don't know how beautiful your smile is. Every time I see your smile, I feel that the seasons are like spring. Even if the sky is full of hail, it seems like the hail is blooming. Yankin understood. Isn't this his lover's boss? Who is Weilan? My boss actually has a new love. What should I do in this situation? Should I suddenly make a fuss? Or bear it for now? Soon Yankin had a new idea. Could it be that he, the boss lover, has a new trick and likes to play this new game? So he deliberately finds a woman to stimulate him, and then pursue this whole new freshness. Why don't you just pretend to continue sleeping and see what kind of tricks he is going to play? So Yankin, who had already woken up, decided to continue pretending to be in a coma, planning to give Xiao Fan a break at the critical moment. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.